Work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
MWR, a local company of Lincoln, is proud to announce they are able to offer their own post-frame building packages in metal to anyone desiring a building, whether you're a contractor or a DIYer. They can install your building as always, and they offer multiple different rib profiles and loads of color options, including the wood grain metal at great competitive prices. You can inquire at mwrbuildingandfence.com or just draw your desired building and submit it in their contact us page, and they'll get back to you. Call MWR today at 402-540-8966.
Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sartor Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sartorheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now. In our new time, we're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
93.7 The Ticket Sports News go now.
This is Rudy Gress IV with your Ticket Sports Update. First, around sports, the NFL Combine is underway in Indianapolis, with on-field workouts beginning Thursday as top prospects look to boost their draft stock ahead of April's NFL Draft. Coverage runs live all weekend on the NFL Network. Now to Husker sports, the Nebraska rifle team, ranked second in the nation, has officially punched their ticket to the NCAA championships as the field narrows to the final 8 teams in the country. The Huskers secured one of the top scores in the nation and will compete for a national title March 13th and 14th in Morgantown, West Virginia. The championships will stream live on NCAA.com. On the hardwood, Nebraska men's basketball hosts Maryland tonight at 6 p.m. Central inside Pinnacle Bank Arena in a key late-season Big Ten matchup. The Huskers look to protect home court and strengthen their postseason resume. The game will air live on the Big Ten Network. The Nebraska women return home Saturday for Senior Day against Rutgers at 1 p.m. Central at Pinnacle Bank Arena. That matchup will also be televised on the Big Ten Network. Track and field begins the Big Ten Indoor Championships tomorrow in Indianapolis, with events starting at 11:20 a.m. Central. Coverage will stream on runnerspace.com and air on the Big Ten Network. On the diamond, Husker softball faces Oklahoma State Thursday at 6 p.m. Central, streaming on ESPN+. While Husker baseball opens its weekend series against top-ranked Auburn on Friday at 6 p.m. Central, with games available on ESPN+ and the SEC Network. And for all the latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Yes, it is. Welcome in to Old School here on a Wednesday. Austin Norman and Jay Foreman with you for the next 3 hours or so, taking you pretty much right up to the tip of Nebraska men's basketball in Maryland down at the vault. Number 12 Huskers welcome the Terps to town. We'll talk a little bit more about that game as the show progresses. Got a chance to hear from some new coaches, special teams, and defensive front coaches spoke today. We'll definitely dive into that. A man who knows something, a couple somethings, quite a few somethings about defense. A Husker Hall of Famer and NFL veteran, Jay Foreman. How are we?
Doing all right, man. We're starting to peak towards Friday. Then we're going to get brought back to reality Sunday, but we'll enjoy Wednesday, hump day. And the sun is out, no wind. You know, it looks like it's barely going to get above 50, but we can take that.
We can work with it. We can absolutely work with it. I did make the walk from here to the Hawks about 11:15 this morning. There were a couple moments there. It was a little blustering. I was walking with my hands out of my pockets, had to put them in at a couple different points in the walk. Typical Midwestern response. When it wasn't windy, it wasn't that bad. When the sun was out, you're walking, in the sun, not in the shade. It wasn't too bad. And besides, that's really all the exercise I'm able to get anymore. Besides that and chasing my 2-year-old around. So.
Well, that'll be enough. Once they get mobile, that there is no days off, right? So it's it's just one of those things, man.
Eric says, my favorite part-time host, Jay Foreman. Hope you enjoyed a well-deserved day off.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, sometimes it's forced day off, but it is what it is.
Business to handle. Things to do.
Business to handle. Like a doctor schedule. I have a brother that he's usually off he is actually off on Tuesdays.
Uh-huh.
But he works and he does rounds and stuff on the weekends and it's extra work. So there's no day off for doctors or partners of Austin Orman. How about that?
Indeed. That is true. We were texting back and forth a little bit. Let's just dive into it here, Jay. With Nebraska football, heard from some new assistants, Brett Maher, Roy Manning, and Corey Brown. Really impressed with all three guys that spoke earlier today. Roy Manning was the one that stood out the most to me, probably the most accomplished coach in that group, some of the places that he's been, having played the position. And one of the things that stood out was toward the end of his media availability. He was asked, day one, you get your room. What did you set the expectation at? What was that conversation like? Let's hear this from Roy Manning.
Blame no one. Expect nothing. Do something. And it's that simple. This is a results business. This is a leave all your stuff at the door business. This is a rinse due every day business that we're in, coaches, players. And so, remove your egos. Hey, Coach Manning, you've been here, you've been there. That's all great. That doesn't mean anything right now. I'm here. I'm a Nebraska Cornhusker, right? And you are my guys. I'm your guy. You know what I mean? And so, and that's kind of the day one stuff, just letting those guys know, hey, it's a blind faith journey we're on a little bit right now because we're still learning each other. I'm trying to take you somewhere, you know what I mean? And you got to trust in me, even though we still have to learn and grow and cultivate our relationship. So a lot of those things, but I want them to know, number one, like, I believe in you. You know what I mean? I think that's important. And so I'm going to be me unapologetically and, just trying to set the tone and the temperament of the room that I always say speed of the leader, speed of the pack. So they're going to follow my lead. And so just being clear on the expectation.
Blame no one, expect nothing, do something.
Yeah.
Followed up by the speed of the leader is the speed of the pack.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool stuff from Roy Manning.
I mean, it's I like it. I mean, I think I think when you look at him, I think he, obviously he played, and obviously that's not the end of it. There's great coaches that haven't played, but he's played and he's been at different places, and I think obviously he's been at places where he's had to work his way up. He coached at Michigan, then obviously he took over the edges just obviously last year at San Diego State and had two really good ones. One that's going down to Texas Tech and probably one of the highest paid in the portal. So and he was productive.
Mm-hmm.
And so was the other gentleman on the other side. And I like it's just simple. Look, I like it. I mean, look, talk is talk, but when you come in and it's more locker room talk in experience. When you hear him talk, it's from experience. We're not blaming nobody.
Mm-hmm.
We're taking all the responsibility on us to handle our business in our place.
Mm-hmm.
And he's essentially, when he's talked about the speed of the leaders, the speed of the pack, he's wanting somebody to step up, either by actions and obviously being a hands-on leader, or sometimes you have a combination of both. He wanting guys to step up. So, I mean, look, I think he has a engaging personality, and he's been different places and played different places, and obviously played at Green Bay as well in the pros. So he has a pretty probably wide black book, and he's probably not afraid to go and being a competitive person as he is, to go and put his recruiting prowess against anybody. And this is just part of it. And so those guys are in. And this is sometimes when you get new coaches, I want to say this, then it's like. And a lot of media people do this. Are they so much better than everybody else? Sometimes you have good coaches and just doesn't work out. The situation doesn't work out. The chemistry doesn't work. But Phil Simpson is still here, so I think that having the two-headed monster there, but Coach Manning is going to be leading the room. I think it's going to work out pretty good.
Obviously, he was addressing the edges, the room that
Mm-hmm.
he's in charge of, which is an interesting room that he says he wants 5 guys for sure they'll likely always travel with 6 of them. He gave kind of the numbers that he's looking for in terms of the measurables. He's saying a 6'2", 240 is kind of the lower end of what he's looking for. Wants the 6'5", 275 to 280 guys. That's the ideal for what he would like to be able to build guys into. But Jay, when I hear what he's saying, blame no one, expect nothing, do something. It's that simple. It's a results business. It's a leave all your stuff at the door business. That to me, I think needs to reverberate throughout the whole team.
Yeah,
How many times have we, asked Nebraska players to just find a way to make a play? Maybe it's not orthodox. Maybe it's not traditional, still within the scheme, but whatever it is you're good at, identify it and find ways to make plays in the scheme within your skill set. Obviously, Nebraska needs more pass rush. He was asked about that. Why didn't Nebraska get after the passer more last year from what you saw? But, at a place like Nebraska where, it's easy to walk in and see the palatial facilities and understand the way that you get treated. The coaches all said, top tier facilities and, among the best you've ever been. Anthony Jones was saying that easiest transition he's ever had to make. NFL level facilities, even maybe better than some in that level. I think that there's a just human element of comfort that can creep in when you're treated the way you are as a Nebraska football player. And so I think this message from Roy Manning to the rest of the team is just because you have all this cool stuff, just because you've been given this great opportunity, that doesn't guarantee you success. You still got to work for it.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I mean, it's an easy message to have, and I think being aware of the circumstances, or I guess what you're afforded here at Nebraska, which is a lot. You're getting every player is getting, a king's ransom and treated like a king.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to have a mindset, and I don't even like saying this as like of a peasant worker. You want to work your way and work for it every single day, and that's the way it should be. You should earn the right to walk through that building and earn the right to be a black shirt. Earn the right. It's an everyday process. And what he means is like, look, everybody has stuff going on outside of football when we get here, with obviously within reason.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean they didn't care about you, but we're going to handle our football stuff when we're here, because ultimately the results is what only thing that matters. And so I think when you I call it trimming the fat, you get a lot more leaner muscle out of it. So ideally, he has his measurables, what he's like, and that's fine, or whatever. But I think he's a good enough coach and say you had a guy that's 6'1", 235, but he is a technician and he is special, right? Like, say like somehow Von Miller shows up. He's not going to say, well, I can't take him.
Well, that's exactly what he said. He said, if I don't have a guy that looks like Myles Garrett, I'm not going to show him Myles Garrett film. I'm going to show him Hassan Reddick film.
That's perfect. And you know what? He said 6'2", 240. That's me. I got another half a semester left, so I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna take from March to August, and I'll be back.
There we go.
Hey, listen, you got guys playing 8-9 years.
Yeah.
And they go play pros and come back. I'm gonna do that.
Take a gap decade or 3.
Yeah. Maybe change my name a little bit.
Go by the government name.
Yeah, why not?
If you have to.
Yeah.
You get back on the field.
If I get some NIL money and get on scholarship again, I'll do it. It'll be the shortest return of all time. But, look, I think, you need more guys like that are just going to challenge the guys. They're going to hold them accountable, but then also push them to be better than what they were. And so right now it's a new lease for a lot of guys. There's a lot of competition. But, as you go on, everybody's got to get down and dirty. And from his experience, he's got to keep pushing these guys to do so.
Let's hear one more from Roy Manning before we hear from Brett Maher. Some of the guys that he walked into in the room, how do they fit the new scheme that they are trying to evolve at Nebraska? Here's Edge's coach, Roy Manning.
Yeah, I think that's always a challenge, right? When we're coming in with a scheme change is answering that question. And so all those guys, they're individual and bring different, talents and skill set. And I think that's our challenge this spring is to cultivate that. I mean, at its core, football is still football. And so there's nothing overly unique about what we do, but it's just teaching those guys how to do it. And, really ingraining those guys like, here's the core principles, because their techniques have changed and will change from what they've done the last few years. So, but that's why they pay me, like get them to execute, their jobs and responsibilities within this system and scheme. So I've been really pleased with the room. And I don't like comparing, but from a attitude and approach standpoint, they remind me of the group I just coached a year ago a bunch of eager, willing guys that just want to get better, improve, and you know what I mean, be a part of the good, you know. So I'm excited to continue to work with those guys.
Part of that challenge, right? Identifying what some of the individual strengths are. Manning said a couple times, I'll have to coach my butt off. That's what I'm here to do. But also, Jay, there was a part in the middle that really stood out to me when, Roy Manning said there's nothing we really do that's unique from a scheme perspective. At the end of the day, football's football. Can you win your one-on-one? Can you just go be better than the guy across from you? And someone like me didn't have the build, didn't have the mindset to play football. I love the schemes, right? Can I unlock the right answer to the test? Can I find a way to get my guys in position to succeed? But what Roy Manning is saying is, no, teams will probably be able to figure out what it is we're doing, right? Because we keep it simple. We don't overwhelm them. We just expect our guys to find ways to be better, right? And sometimes that's the hardest thing to beat. When you know what they're doing, you can't get through it anyways because they're always in the right spot, always at the right time. Assignment sound football.
Yeah, I mean, you're not gonna. I mean, the scheme is like. I think sometimes people like that word is like used too much and overrated. I think the best thing you could think of, does your defense and your calls and I guess your scheme fit your personnel? That's when you're really a good coordinator. When you're not locked into this has to be this person has to do this, and you got to really kind of form and it's year by year. Because guys develop different, in the off season, and you might not have the personnel to do so. It's just simple as like 1 year you can run a 3-4 and you have 300 pounders that are really, really good, and you can 2-gap everything, and your linebackers are just running and killing everybody, and you got really good coverage, and you can get out wide and just let them rush. Well, then you might be, say, like a little bit smaller across the D line, not as much experience. Well, then you got to shoot the gaps and stuff like that because you have guys at the second level that can play off of them, right? And you got to really kind of change it every year. And I think cover 4 is cover 4. You can run combo coverages. You can kind of switch responsibilities. I talked about how people are running different versions of cover 2 and stuff like that. That's kind of like when you're, up late and let me see if it works, but you have to have the right personnel to do so. So it's all about execution. There's a weakness in every run or pass play. There's a weakness in every front, in every coverage. How much of a weakness you allow it to be is up to you as a coordinator, players, and togetherness to eliminate that. There's cover 2 beaters, there's cover 4 beaters, there's cover 3 beaters. But if you know what you're doing and go out there and execute, it really doesn't matter.
Sometimes the opposing coordinator, puts his button on the right play.
Yep.
And sometimes
you just get got. That's it.
It's football.
Or, I played against Randy Moss. We had cover 2 Randy Moss. He just happened to be that much better than all 3 of our defensive backs that were standing right there. And it was a great pass by Dante Culper. Sometimes you just get beat, and you got to be able to, overcome that.
You mentioned the scheme a little bit, right? Playing a 2-gap, Nebraska moving to a gap and a half scheme with Corey Brown and what Rob Ulrich wants to do. Maybe explain for people what gap and a half means.
I'm going to just be real simple.
In practical terms.
And there was at times, when somebody runs this, in my opinion, when they run a scheme, when they're so locked into a scheme, and this is not him because he has a gap and a half, where they feel like if they could just take the 11 people walking the street and say, go here. And so you just go in the B gap and stay there. That's okay. I technically have my gap. So you could get the B gap and get washed way out and end up in the E gap. Essentially, you could get blown out of there. Well, then that makes that A gap. I call it a super A gap. What he wants you to do is a gap and a half, own your gap, and then another one. And it can be done. That's essentially what he's thinking, and it's new. Okay. He wasn't able to do that at San Diego State because you didn't have the defensive front to do that, or the linebacker. So who made this famous is Mike McDonald from Seattle. And the way they do it is nothing new. It's new because people haven't been. It's essentially old school football.
Okay.
Which is okay. If I have it's playing football without losing your responsibilities. You're leveraging the ball, not the block. So if a guy is running out wide, say a guard is pulling, tackle's pulling, even though I might have contained, it's a different because I can push him out to be the contain.
Yeah.
And then actually I'm covering 2 gaps there.
Oh, sure.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so it's going to take some time to do it, but I like it, and it's going to allow guys, if they dive into it, it's going to allow guys to make so many plays that maybe don't show up in the stat sheet individually, but it does collectively.
Is that one of those things that Nebraska will need to get better physically to handle or mentally to handle
Both.
first?
Both. And I think they go hand in hand, but
Okay.
you got to be strong. You got to be excellent with your technique. You got to be heavy-handed, and you got to be invested, because it's going to take some mental, because and the great thing about it, when you have a bunch of guys, which they probably had at San Diego State, that are invested, they have to communicate outside of meetings. They got to talk at lunch, because you have to play together. And really, if you're doing that, if you're kind of playing that gap and a half, you're going to have some guys that do it really, really well, and some guys don't. But the gap and a half will actually, the guys that don't will be less than negative, because everybody will be doing their job and then some.
There's someone there to cover for them a little bit.
And that's what the best defense is like. You're going to have to communicate in Austin. If you say, okay, I'm going to knife this, and I'm going to go from, a 9-9, and I'm going to go inside the tight end. Well, then I got to know, as a stack linebacker, if the play's coming towards us, I'm already coming off your butt.
Yeah.
Well, then therefore, if the play goes away, because I have to take a step out right anyways, if we're going to, we're facing this way, and that means that the play goes away, that means you got to get flat down the line and actually
really flat.
Right. And get my away B gap or A gap or whatever it is. So, I mean, I think he knows what he wants from the defense. Probably why he has a lot of the guys that he's coached with before. They know how. You got a safety coach that's coached with him before. He's coached middle linebackers. Orich has coached middle, obviously. Obviously, you got Rob Dvorak too, and Addison Williams, but we're just talking about up the middle. So you have your safeties coach that you got yourself that's a linebackers coach, and you got another linebackers coach in Rob Dvorak, but he's the coordinator as far as Orich. And then you got Brown, the defensive line coach, and Manning, the edge coaches. Now there's other guys that are assistants, but you always build a defense up the middle. Strong. You want to be strong up the middle. Now, it starts with the teaching, but then the players got to adapt to it.
Yeah, Corey Brown had a lot to say on that front, right? It's a long season. The guys in the middle have to hold down these two positions that we hold ownership over. They're important. So a lot of good stuff there from Corey Brown as well. Let me ask you this, Jay, when it comes to that gap and a half thing, right? Being invested, all being on the same page. That strikes me as another one of those situations where not only does everyone need to, watch more film to make sure they're on the same page, but they need to watch it in the same way, with the same understanding of what they want to accomplish. Because if you show, say, 3 guys one play, if 2 have one idea, this is my gap, this is my gap, this is your gap, and one guy sees it differently and he ends up in the wrong gap, then you have the same issue. So how important is it for Nebraska to get on the same page, as early as possible about not just watching more film, but being on the same page when you are watching film and understanding what they want to accomplish?
It's huge in any year, but, it's probably even more this year when you essentially have a whole new defensive staff. Obviously a defensive coordinator for sure. And then obviously, you got a whole bunch of new position coaches, or you added some, where you got safety coaches, stuff like that. And then you added some players too, and you lost some players, guys that have been around a while, where you can kind of, all right, these guys have been, they've, started a few games or played. It's huge. And I think it's something that's needed. And it's also a separation tool.
Sure.
Because if you're not invested in football with this defense here and with new coaches, you're going to stick out like a sore thumb, and you will see it on the field. Hopefully not, obviously.
Hopefully you won't.
Hopefully you won't, but you'll see it in practice. You'll know. And the way that you move and how you communicate, amongst each other, both in your position groups and then obviously as a whole defensively, has to be different. So in a lot of ways, a lot of these guys need to grow up. A lot of these guys are going to have to make sacrifices if you want to play. Because right now at this point where Coach Rule's at year 4 and you have a new coordinator, here, and you got some new guys, new coaches, on the other side of the ball, you got a new special teams coach. Like, they don't have, like, if you've been around here for a couple of years and you hadn't really made a move and you're doing the same things and got the same habits, it's your time will be up.
That goes right back to blame no one, expect nothing, do something.
Right. And do something means do more, move differently. You're going to have to sacrifice some time. So whatever you like to do outside of football has to start to become secondary if you want to play. And if you like to be the 3 S's guy, sweatsuit, steaks, and I won't say the other one, that's not going to last very long because, you could say, the pressure or whatever, but ultimately, in order for this program to get where anybody wants to be, the pressure to win and the willingness to win has to resonate from player 1 to, I don't know, what, 105, 120?
Whatever.
Yeah. Everybody has to have it. You can't have 60 guys that are invested, 60 guys aren't, and then maybe it's circumstantial based on whether you're going to play or not.
Right.
Because the other bottom half of the roster has to have the same will and wants and intentions, because those are the guys that need to be next coming up the pipe, so you don't have to devil into the portal. And when you do, you can spend it freely and more wisely. You get what I'm saying? Because I need this position, this position, this position, and these are the 6 guys in those 3 positions that I want, and then we're done.
I can save on depth. I can save for a star.
Right. And also it allow you to make more money and they would probably spend more freely as a present day roster guy than versus taking a risk. And you can do that by establishing yourself in practice, in the weight room, in the classroom, and then when you get chances to play, if you're an up and coming player, versus if Jay's been around for 2 years, kind of like the same guy, body looks the same, work ethic looks the same, hasn't really invested more. Well, then they might have to go get a guy that's going to be a rotational linebacker because they don't know if I can do it.
We can't wait for the breakout anymore.
Right. And you got plenty of opportunities because of all the stuff you got over there. So, I like the mindset. Now they just got to get guys to go out and execute.
Let's hear one more from Brett Maher, new Nebraska special teams coordinator. This answer was regarding Archie Wilson. If this is one I'm thinking of, I think it can really apply across the roster. And I found that this is a trap that I found myself caught in when it comes to looking at players. But Brett Maher, on what Archie Wilson specifically can improve, and we'll extrapolate it out.
I think that'll just be like his kind of stock balls is what I call it. His stock lefts, his stock rights, and then using the other stuff kind of as a change up, but giving him a little more freedom through rhythm, if that makes sense. Because his style is very unique to me. And coaching him last year for the first time was very eye-opening to what I had ever seen or done. So a lot of last year was me trying to learn him and learn that style. And I think like I fell into the trap a couple of times of shoot, he can hit this ball, he can hit this ball, he can hit this ball. Let's go out and, let's practice all of them. When I do think not reining him in, because I want him to be able to go out there and have the freedom to, try to pull off some stuff that's pretty crazy, because that can be a huge advantage for us. But also like making sure that he has something that he can go to in any given circumstance or situation.
That to me was keep the main thing. I think it was a next answer. He said, then dial in the fastball, use a baseball analogy, right? It's great to have all the tools in the tool belt, but for a young guy, Jay, like an Archie Wilson, again, I think you can extrapolate this, whether it's offense, defense, or special teams. You got to start somewhere, carve out a role, right? Get the basics, get the fundamentals down. It's great that we spent some time talking about all the fun things Archie Wilson can do. He can kick flat-footed, he can kick on the run, he can go left, he can go right, he can bomb it, he can touch it, whatever you can do. But what did Brett Maher say? The first thing has to be for Archie Wilson, can you just punt the ball a direction? Can you punt it to the left? Can you punt it to the right? Can you make it go 40-some yards, consistently? And that's a trap I get caught up with. I mean, especially when I look at, basketball, right? I think about a 6'6" to 6'8" wing, right? That can dribble the ball, that can shoot, that can defend. Obviously, it's great to have all those skills, but it's easy to put a lot too much on those guys' plates sometimes because you see everything they can do, and you don't want to hold them back, right? You want to challenge them to grow in all those areas. But figuring out, what's going to keep this young man's career going longest, it's the fundamentals. Being able to do the thing he's asked to do the most as consistently as he possibly can. And then as he gets more comfortable in that and more consistent at that, some of that other cool stuff, some of the tricks, some of the sideshows, the breaking ball in the baseball analogy, that can come later. Work on it on the side, but in season especially, what does the team need more so than, hey, look what we can do.
Yeah, there's an old analogy. If you listen to pass rushers, when you see Von Miller do a spin move or DeMarcus Ware or something like that, about 3 or 4 times a season. And within when you're playing good competition, and what it means is stock ball is is just what you're going to get every single day. Let's just get your stock ball down, because then that will allow your specialty kicks to be that much more special. And so you want consistency in your stock ball. Let's not try to do 10 things. Let's try to hone in on the first 2 things that we need to do and make those special. And then everything else will come off of that. Because if sometimes if you want to look at a golfer or anything like that, they have their ideal shot shape, right? And, when, you've seen Tiger Woods when he hit the shot at Pebble Beach, when he hit it and brought the ball way over the water, hit it on the green.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's probably, he's done that twice in his career probably.
Yeah.
But when you need him to hit a high fade at Augusta, he's going to do it even when he's not playing well. So leave all the cool stuff to the cool kids, and let's just be dominant at what we're doing, because I think that also will allow the coverage units to be that much better. Because as much as Brett had to adjust to that, because Australian style kicking is only good and it only works at times in college. It will not work in the pros. And so when you're coming from a pro and being a pro, it takes some time to adjust. And so it takes the players a little bit more time to adjust the coverages and understanding what he's got to do. And plus, if you're trying to do a specialty kick, you have to relay that message to the coverage unit, because you have to coverage a different way, or cover it a different way.
Jordan P., Gorilla Bear, Eric, appreciate y'all chiming in on our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line. Mike, we see your question. Let's go ahead and answer that one when we get back. Starter Heyman Jewelers text line open all show long, 402-464-5685. This is Old School, brought to you as always by the good folks at Graham Tire, celebrating 75 years of serving the Midwest. More than just tires, they do all kinds of car and light truck repairs too. From brakes to oil changes, trust Graham Tire for service you can count on. It's Graham Tire, getting you to the places that matter most. He's Husker Hall of Famer Jay Foreman. I'm Austin Norman. More of Old School after this.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes. Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and right now at Koppel, we are offering big discounts on all of our inventory. 2026 GMC Terrains are leasing at $279 per month or buy for $27,690. 2026 Canyons leasing for $269 or buy for $40,980. Also right now, all new Equinox EVs and all half-ton trucks are starting at $12,000 off MSRP. These are just a few examples of some of the aggressive pricing going on right now at Koppel. Please stop on in or check us out at koppelcars.com. All these with $2,500 down with a roof credit.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at gainatrucking.com.
Winter is just around the corner. Is your vehicle ready? Don't get left out in the cold. At A1 Automotive, we prep your car for whatever winter throws your way here in Nebraska. For battery checks, for brake inspections, tires, heaters, whatever your car needs to keep you and your family safe on the road, we've got you covered. A1 Automotive, always honest answers.
Hey fellas, let's take a quick time out here. February is American Heart Month, and listen, men are the worst at getting checked out. We'll watch every stat in the league, but ignore the most important one. That's our own heart health. So here's the play. Talk to your doctor about scheduling a quick heart screening at Advanced Medical Imaging. It's fast, it's easy, and it could save your life. Your family needs you around a lot more than your fantasy team does. Make the call, get the checkup, take care of your heart at Advanced Medical Imaging.
No one's ever explained it this way. That's what we hear at Trade-Offs when you finally see how today's crop insurance tools work with your grain marketing plan, not in isolation. With hail and wind rates increasing and margins already tight, it's time to challenge how you look at crop insurance. It's time to ask better questions. It's time to call Trade-Offs. Call us at 402-858-7501 or visit gotradeos.com to start the conversation. That's GOTREDAS.com. Trade-Offs, ingrained in your success. No, seriously, give us a call.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. It is Old School. Austin Foreman and Jay Foreman with you. Hour one of the show brought to you by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. They're located down in Hallam. They offer free estimates, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and lifetime warranties on everything while keeping their prices affordable. Heartland of Nebraska Windows, locally and family owned, have their own team of installers. Give Heartland of Nebraska Windows a call today. You can get more info, 402-430-3852. You can also visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. All right, to our starter Heyman Jewelers text line we go. Jay, Mike says, I think Indiana proved that the path to the playoff goes through the coach's office. Not saying Rule and company can't, but how did Indiana's success affect this coaching group's timeline?
Well, I mean, you could say it sped it up, but I mean, Coach Rule, he's got a big contract. So, I mean, maybe increase the expectations timeline for sure. It's all, you have to be dangerous, always trying to compare yourself to somebody else. That's the worst thing you could do. But also, I think, it sheds some light, and maybe instead of saying it in a negative way, it puts more pressure on you. If it was me, I'm like, oh, let's find a way.
And that's kind of what Roy Manning was saying.
Yeah, let's find a way to get this bad boy going, right now. They can do it. Let's see if we can do it. I mean, that's the way to look. I try to look. When you're in this football business, you just got to grind it out and figure it out.
And I don't want to push back on the Cignetti narrative too hard. Like, clearly the guy's a winner. He found some secret sauce. Bryant Haynes is a psycho in the best way, defensive coordinator. But, Jay, let's also not give Cignetti all the credit, because Indiana had better dudes on its roster than it's had in a long time that made plays that, quite frankly, no one in school history has ever made before. They have the Heisman winner, Fernando Mendoza. You have a Bulldog corner in Pons. good enough running backs, really solid offensive line, playmaking receivers when the time came. Yes, it's Cignetti, right? The Cignetti effect, had a good coaching staff, good talent identification. Let's not give the players short shrift, right? Let's not, give Indiana's roster a once-over and say, oh, these guys were just lucky. Oh, how'd they do it? It's a coaching miracle.
Right.
Indiana had some dang good football players on that roster.
Yeah, really good. And their receiver number 80, who wasn't their number one receiver, but he was actually their big play receiver, was a holdover from Coach Allen.
Yeah.
A guy that Cignetti, I wouldn't say tried to run off, but kind of tried to make it hard whether you're going to be here or not. And they have plenty of players that are holdovers that you don't hear about. You hear about I call them the lucky 13 that came, or whatever. It was more than 13, but 13 starters, 20-some guys that came from that level of football, or James Madison. And also, let's not forget, they were, if not the oldest team in the nation, one of the oldest teams in the nation. Yeah. So you were playing, a little bit with the cards stacked in your favor. The players made some plays, and they had a lot of depth. They had a lot of continuity. They have not lost any coaches,
which is kind of wild.
It's right, which is
that's rare,
dude. You haven't hired their offense or defensive coordinator, and the success they've had together for this long.
Mm-hmm.
Just take James Madison, the domination there, and they come into the Big Ten and do it again. And
immediately.
You're not thinking about hiring one of their coordinators? I mean, the worst case, they hired the strength coach, left, and he went to Tennessee, I think, or something.
Right. Yeah.
So he hasn't lost any coaches yet. And so the continuity is there. That's where you're really, when you look at some of the other teams, they generally lose coaches. Look at Ohio State. I mean, they were rolling along, and then, Brian Hartline gets a head coaching job and looks like they can't even, get out of their own way. Obviously the Hurricanes, were playing really well, but their offense did not look the same from a play calling standpoint. So there's a lot of factors that go in it besides Cignetti. You're 100% right.
Gus Mohawk, Starter Heyman Jewelers text line again, said, guys, if there's one game on next year's schedule that I want to win, I pick Indiana. I went to that game 2 years ago. Their fans are a bunch of clowns. Plus, they're the reigning national champions. Obviously, Jay, 12-0 is always the dream, always the goal. If there's one game on the schedule that you want to win a little bit more than any, you can make it a special game. You can give that 110%. What is that game on Nebraska's schedule?
I mean, I think for Nebraska, at Iowa would be the one that you want to, obviously if you could go and return the favor as far as that beatdown.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Indiana, because it's a measuring stick, but it's not the same. Mendoza isn't coming back. You don't know if they're going to have the same secret sauce. So,
right.
But the Iowa is a game that tells you a lot, maybe more, in the sense of, have you remedied some of the things that you needed to address? Physicality, mentality, execution, identity, culture, all that. Whereas, and you might have had it, against Iowa, but I mean, this year, but now you think you maybe, added onto it, would be key.
If you really think that Iowa's a rival, it has to be that one. You shouldn't be able to stomach losing another one to that team across the river.
That way.
Plain
not that way.
Not like that.
Yeah, not that
Never
way.
again.
And that's the thing that you can turn around really quickly, because it's a whole mentality change throughout the whole, team. But, it's going to take some effort. And also you could say they're a rivalry, or you just, you should just hate them, because
just on principle, GP.
You've outplayed them and they found a way to win. There's been times that you just gave the game away, and there's kind of like that, that uncle at the family reunion that just won't leave you alone, and he always wins the one-on-ones, right? You're up by, you're playing the 9 or you're playing the 11 and you're up 8-2, and he finds a way to, foul you, cheap shot you. And next thing you know, he hits a no-look 3, and next thing you know, you won't get to play him again until next year. You got to come prepared. That'll tell you a lot more. Speaking
of Iowa, Brett Maher on his favorite memories at Nebraska.
Some of my memories from here, I remember playing in 2 Big 12 championship games and 1 Big 10 championship game. Remember going 2-0 against Iowa. Remember the celebration in Iowa City where we won the division and ended up going to the Big 10 championship game and celebrating in the pink locker room, doing all that stuff. Like that's what gives me the motivation right now, because that's where I see this place, and that's where we're going at this place.
Guy that's been there at Nebraska, knows what it feels like, knows what it takes to get there. It was a pretty self-aware quote from Brett Maher as well, Jay. I closed out in my document, but he was asked about, the length of field goals expanding in the NFL, if he thinks that'll get to college. he had a pretty funny quote about, hey, don't forget we're athletes too. Maybe not D1 athletes all the time, but as kickers continue to get more athletic and guys see it, it's going to become more common when you see field goal range extended in college as well. Let's get to 15:08 before we go to break. Jay says, Matt Rule's had 11 coaches in 3 years. That's a major problem. Either he isn't a good boss or he's not good at judging talent. I think there are more than just those two options available.
As far as what two options?
Well, the two options from 1508 is because Matt Rule has had so many coaches on staff, he's either not a good boss or he's not good at judging talent. I think there's many other avenues.
You just never know. I mean, you got to think like recently, Josh Martin left, family's there. I think his wife and kids were going back and forth. His dad is involved in Texas football.
Mm-hmm.
A great job.
Yeah.
Jason Went was there, probably making about the same. That's circumstantial. And so, I don't, you don't know all the inner workings and that. And obviously you want some continuity, but, these same fans that are worried about constant turnover are the same fans that complain when Frost brought all his staff here and they didn't make changes. It's either you can't argue on both sides.
Right.
When it's convenient or it's not working the way you want. So, you got to keep hiring until you get the guys right, and you hope they stay around as long as they can. But in this day of transfer portal, the coaches, you could have a great coach and he's gone in 6 months.
Mm-hmm. Because he's that good.
Look at Colorado. Had a great defensive coordinator last year from the pros. He took the job because he had familiarity with Vance Joseph. He's going over to Denver. Now Deion's trying to find a defensive coordinator in spring ball.
Yeah, in spring ball.
And he already just lost a defensive line coach.
Yeah.
To Pittsburgh Steelers. So it happens all the time.
Sure does. Let's go to break. We will wrap up hour one. Little look at Nebraska men's basketball. We will lead off the 4 o'clock hour with Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. That's straight ahead.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
It's seafood season at Amigos. Time to get that one-of-a-kind, crisp crab rangoon burrito and dip it in some sweet chili sauce. There's a crab rangoon Frenchie, too. Enjoy grilled fish, grilled shrimp, or crispy fish tacos. Wrapped in warm whole wheat tortillas. Topped with pico de gallo, cabbage, and Amigos Chipotle mayo sauce. From jumbo shrimp baskets or fish and chips to fish tacos, there's something for everyone. You'll love the bold, fresh flavors of seafood at Amigos. Amigos is serving up a brand new way to score the bold, fresh flavors you love with 8 affordable value meals. At $5 and $6, these meals are easy on the wallet, so treat yourself anytime. Sink into the new 3-cheese melt or taco melt, both stacked with crave-worthy flavor in every bite. There's crunchy taquito dippers, too, perfect for dunking in Amigos' famous ranch or spicy cheese. Big flavor, small price. Value meals at Amigos.
Good morning, Breakers. This is Scott Miller from Midwest Bank. When I recently joined Midwest Bank, I was immediately impressed by our exceptional service. My first customer made the switch from a large corporate bank and didn't have to wait in line or call a 1-800 number. We treated him like family. He now visits the bank just to say hello. While other banks go corporate, we stay Nebraska. Visit us at midwest.bank or drop by a branch today. Your community, your bank. Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell & Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life, your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
A new year means it's time to try new things. If you haven't tried Führer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For the days you don't want to go to the gym, don't worry. Führer's cheese spread is there to cheer you up. And for the days you do get to the gym, why not celebrate when you get back with the best dip around? Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Führer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
Are you looking for a fresh new hangout spot? Let me tell you about Liquid Assets Sports Bar, where Mondays mean new weekly drink and food features. With 23 taps, a full lineup of cans and bottles, and 40 TVs blasting every sports package out there, you'll never worry about missing a play. Savor high-end spirits at their stylish top-shelf bar, enjoy a healthy menu, family-friendly atmosphere, and catch all of your favorite teams every day. Doors open daily at 11 a.m. Liquid Assets Sports Bar, located at 2755 Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
Husker Nation, your perfect softball plan is here. With the flexible Husker Softball on Deck deal, you choose the action. For just $38, pick any 4 games plus 1 from the can't-miss Iowa series. Build your own schedule, catch your favorite matchups, and cheer on the Huskers your way all season long. But don't wait, these mini plans won't last. Visit Huskers.com/tickets and make your own mini plan today. Go Big Red.
Make your next event unforgettable with Grazing Gouda, your local artists and experts in charcuterie and grazed tables. From boardrooms to ballrooms, they turn gatherings into experiences with stunning spreads of artesian cheeses, cured meats, fresh fruits, and gourmet bites. Perfect for corporate luncheons, weddings, parties, or any celebration that deserves a wow moment. They handle the details. You take the compliments. Book your graze table today at GrazingGouda.com. Grazing Gouda, because every event deserves to be savored.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes. Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
Tired of your furnace running overtime this winter? Let Heartland of Nebraska Windows save the day. Upgrade to stunning, energy-saving triple-pane vinyl windows installed by their team of experts. Every window comes with a lifetime warranty on everything, all for a price you can actually afford. Free estimates, flawless replacements, and peace of mind from a family-owned business you can trust. Don't wait. Call Heartland of Nebraska Windows at 402-430-3852 or visit heartlandofnebraskawindows.com today.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in, wrapping up hour 1 of Old School. Austin Orman, Jay Foreman with you. We'll talk with Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald here in just about 10 minutes. A couple things here. Jay Gus Mohawk chimes in again. He says, I go to an away football game every year, but the Oregon game doesn't work out with my schedule, so I have to decide if I should go to Nebraska's first round NCAA tournament game or go to a non-Oregon away football game. Also, the crew I'm going with doesn't really want to spend Thanksgiving in Iowa. What are you doing, Jay? Picking another road football game or going to the first round of the NCAA tournament?
Who do they play on the road?
Nebraska football's road
State,
schedule. It is Michigan State,
Illinois.
Potentially Friday night. Could
Illinois, right?
Yes, it's Michigan State, Oregon, Illinois, Rutgers, Iowa. So,
you going to the first round
yeah, Woof.
You going to the first round basketball game? Get your tickets ready. Where are they going to play, Austin?
The most likely locations, I mean, you're hoping for Oklahoma City. St. Louis is next on the list. Buffalo, a distinct possibility, as is Greenville.
No San Jose.
I think that's kind of down the line.
All right. So it's essentially OKC or St. Louis.
Or bust.
Or bust.
Or Buffalo. Hey, which by the way,
what's up?
This was hilarious. I thought of you. Anthony Jones was asked about, all his transferring around and all the places he's been. He said, yeah, I mean, there's part of me that misses the California weather, but I'm a Four Seasons guy. I kind of missed having that out there in LA. And I try not to think too much about the weather because, if I want to get drafted, what if I end up getting drafted by the two teams he mentioned?
Buffalo and Green Bay.
Buffalo and Green Bay, in that order.
Hey, listen, my brother, you better get ready to it because since you put out in the universe, if you play good enough, that's where you're going to be.
You're right.
That's everything I was thinking about. That's the two places I didn't want to go. When 716 was on my cell phone, it was on.
Those are literally the two teams he said in order. If I get drafted to Buffalo, New York, or maybe it's Green Bay, I had to stifle a laugh sitting next to Tom Chattel.
Trust me, I got experience with that mindset. You got to be ready at all times. But Nebraska will get you ready for it.
Hey,
trust me.
Sure will. Been a decent spring, all things considered. A little chilly here or there. Also thought it was interesting. Heard from Kyle Cunanan, the kicker, who says, really, we understand why people talk about the wind, but unless it's gusting at 30 or 40, whatever you kick inside is pretty much going to be what you kick outside as well.
Yeah, and I think the biggest thing, you don't want to get in your head and change your approach or your technique, and so that's where you got to have the repetitions where you're just really, really confident in your process, and that's where I think Brett Maher will pay off tenfold. Yes. He's been there, done that. Mm-hmm. He'll trim the fat and really get you dialed in on what you need to do. I am curious to see, too, with the Brett Maher thing, Jay, if moving forward, Nebraska tries to recruit a hybrid guy. I know they're not very common, but, Brett Maher being, both. All conferences, both. If Nebraska thinks it needs to save a roster spot, which, I mean, come on, one roster spot or two at the margins, probably not a big deal. And, that's a lot to focus on, a lot of scheme, a lot of different technique, I'm sure. But I wonder if there's a world if college rosters continue to get trimmed down. Let's say that you only get down to 85 or maybe the travel roster size of 70. If, Nebraska could get ahead of that curve and say, hey, if you're going to kick for us, you're going to punt. Hey, if you're going to punt for us, you got to be able to kick, at least in case of emergency. Yeah, I can see it happen, especially if you get up against the number and you want to add a scholarship for, say you have a guy that just comes in and you got to take him and, you got to try to trim it, and you only have one scholarship available for a specialist, and a guy that can do both or has the potential to do both, be definitely, on the docket and see if they can do that. Husker Hall of Famer Jay Foreman. I'm Austin Norman. Hour one of Old School brought to you, as always, by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Give them a call, 402-430-3852, or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com, offering all sorts of great stuff like free estimates, full window replacements, and lifetime warranties. We'll call up Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. I'm out of here to get to basketball around 4:30. We'll move Evan up a little bit. Jay and Harrison will hold down the fort after that.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Make your next event unforgettable with Grazing Gouda, your local artists and experts in charcuterie and grazed tables. From boardrooms to ballrooms, they turn gatherings into experiences with stunning spreads of artesian cheeses, cured meats, fresh fruits, and gourmet bites. Perfect for corporate luncheons, weddings, parties, or any celebration that deserves a wow moment. They handle the details. You take the compliments. Book your graze table today at GrazingGouda.com. Grazing Gouda, because every event deserves to be savored.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com.
On the internet.
KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings thanks to the all-new delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get one half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney locations. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town.
No one's ever explained it this way. That's what we hear at Trados when you finally see how today's crop insurance tools work with your grain marketing plan, not in isolation. With hail and wind rates increasing and margins already tight, it's time to challenge how you look at crop insurance. It's time to ask better questions. It's time to call Trados. Call us at 402-858-7501 or visit gotrados.com to start the conversation. That's GOTREDAS.com. Trados, ingrained in your success. No, seriously, give us a call.
Are you looking for a fresh new hangout spot? Let me tell you about Liquid Assets Sports Bar, where Mondays mean new weekly drink and food features. With 23 taps, a full lineup of cans and bottles, and 40 TVs blasting every sports package out there, you'll never worry about missing a play. Savor high-end spirits at their stylish top-shelf bar, enjoy a healthy menu, family-friendly atmosphere, and catch all of your favorite teams every day. Doors open daily at 11 a.m. Liquid Assets Sports Bar, located at 2755 Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
You started your business to build something special. Now it's time to grow and protect it. At Pinnacle Bank, our treasury management services help you do just that. Through smarter payment technology, account administration, and fraud protection. So no matter the size of your business, you can get the most out of your financial operations. Request your free consultation at pinbank.com/consult. Pinnacle Bank, the way banking should be. Member FDIC.
Central and Western Nebraska, this one's for you. On March 7th, Love Nebraska brings the pro game to the Heartland Events Center in Grand Island for a 7 p.m. showdown with Love Salt Lake, presented by FNBO. No long drive, no watching from afar, just live action in your backyard, featuring powerful serves, high-flying attacks, and the kind of intensity that builds with every rally. This is your chance to experience Nebraska volleyball up close as the entire state comes together for one big night. Get your tickets now at lovbneb.com/tickets.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
93.7 The Ticket Sports News go now.
This is Rudy Gress IV with your Ticket Sports Update. First, around sports, the NFL Combine is underway in Indianapolis, with on-field workouts beginning Thursday as top prospects look to boost their draft stock ahead of April's NFL Draft. Coverage runs live all weekend on the NFL Network. Now to Husker sports, the Nebraska rifle team, ranked second in the nation, has officially punched their ticket to the NCAA championships as the field narrows to the final 8 teams in the country. The Huskers secured one of the top scores in the nation and will compete for a national title March 13th and 14th in Morgantown, West Virginia. The championships will stream live on NCAA.com. On the hardwood, Nebraska men's basketball hosts Maryland tonight at 6 p.m. Central inside Pinnacle Bank Arena in a key late-season Big Ten matchup. The Huskers look to protect home court and strengthen their postseason resume. The game will air live on the Big Ten Network. The Nebraska women return home Saturday for Senior Day against Rutgers at 1 p.m. Central at Pinnacle Bank Arena. That matchup will also be televised on the Big Ten Network. Track and field begins the Big Ten Indoor Championships tomorrow in Indianapolis, with events starting at 11:20 a.m. Central. Coverage will stream on runnerspace.com and air on the Big Ten Network. On the diamond, Husker softball faces Oklahoma State Thursday at 6 p.m. Central, streaming on ESPN+. While Husker baseball opens its weekend series against top-ranked Auburn on Friday at 6 p.m. Central, with games available on ESPN+ and the SEC Network. And for all the latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln, this is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln, your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. Welcome in. It is hour 2 of Old School, leading off a little bit differently. We have Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald with us. He's on our Allo Fiber VIP line. Allo Fiber is where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Evan, we are so back. Spring football is in full gear. We got to hear from the new assistants. Basketball still going on. Baseball in full swing. I know that it's supposed to be November, December. That's the most wonderful time of the year. I'm kind of partial to this February, March window being the most wonderful time of the year myself.
You can make a pretty strong argument for it. I'd put playoff baseball meets the NFL meets college football pretty high on that list too. But man, this is good stuff for sure. The home stretch for the basketball season, you get a taste for what football is going to be like, and I love college baseball, and I mean it's this is what we live for, right? This is some of the best stuff.
It absolutely is. Let's dive into that football stuff first. We had a chance to hear from 3 new or relatively new coaches on the Nebraska staff. Let's just take these in the order that we heard from them. Starting with Brett Maher, right? A guy that I thought had some interesting perspective about, never really envisioning a future in coaching. It kind of happened. All of a sudden, here it is, more rewarding than he thought it ever could be. A couple things stood out to me. First of all, he said special teams last year was all about fundamentals. There's room to develop schematically now. How did you take that comment from a new head special teams guy, Brett Maher?
Yeah, I took that as a guy who is taking ownership of his new position. Like, this isn't just, sort of a plug and play necessarily. Like, there's certainly elements that he took from the Mike Eckler system that they're going to carry over. And he mentioned that as well. Like, he said, it'd be foolish to make wholesale changes because there were so many things that worked last year, but he was also, I thought, very forthcoming about the idea that he and co-coordinator Nick Humphrey are going to be creative when it comes to various schemes. And it kind of, to hear Maher describe it, it does sound like they have sort of a chemistry there where you think about Maher's background as an NFL kicker, expert with specialists, that sort of thing. And you've got a guy in Humphrey who was a walk-on linebacker at Tennessee and sort of an Eckler disciple who lived those schemes and then followed him to Lincoln. So kind of a nice mix, I think, of backgrounds and personalities. And, it's a contrast to what Mike Eckler said in his USC press conference introductory presser last week when he said it's sort of on cruise control with the special teams moving forward. I think Maher and Humphrey are motivated to say there's still a lot of work to be done, and they're going to have their own individual influences that'll also be part of this thing moving forward.
The other part that I was struck by from Brett Maher was Archie Wilson, right? A lot of discussion around the Australian freshman last year and how he could do a little bit of everything. I thought it was refreshing. I thought it was a nice perspective from Brett Maher to say, yeah, I've never coached anyone like him. But at the end of the day, he's still a young guy, and that's going to, carry him further than the novelty stuff is getting back to the fundamentals. And I thought that really stood out to me, especially in light of how, fans and media had really talked about Archie Wilson and his skill set last year.
Right. Yeah, there was the boomerang balls and the left foot and the right foot, and there's so many things that you can do. I thought his analogy, his baseball comparison was apt, where it's just like, all right, let's work on the fastball. Let's make sure you always have something that you can go back to in those pressure situations, and then build around that with all of the extra stuff that Archie Wilson can do with both feet, the different spins, the high balls, the long kicks, whatever it might be. And so, it also, I would say, struck me that Maher said, hey, look, part of last year was me getting used to that different style from Archie Wilson. I think that says a lot about his willingness to adapt, to say that, to recognize that he had a great career and was a professional, but yet there were still things that he doesn't know and things that he's trying to relate when it comes to his players. And so that's probably an offshoot of kind of his story from 2024 when he comes in and said he was kind of bit by that coaching bug pretty early on in terms of how it could affect other people and for a way for him to stay in football. So I think for a guy who doesn't have much of a coaching background because he's been a player most of his life, he brought, I think, a maturity and maybe a perspective of self-awareness that's a little unusual for a guy in that position. And, we heard from Kyle Cunanan, who was the kicker last year, still going to be the kicker this year. And he said that a guy like Maher has been invaluable, not just in bringing him to Nebraska, but for the season that he just had too. So a lot of positives for how Maher can help those specialists moving forward.
Yeah, I heard the baseball analogy, dial in the fastball and develop the off-speed tools. And I wondered if the guy at the podium was going to rip off the Brett Maher mask and reveal Rob Childress underneath. I still haven't seen them together in the same room. Have you?
Yeah, it's a Mission Impossible style mask where they're actually the same person. I mean, no, no, I have not.
Let's move on then to Roy Manning, the edge coach. I really liked a lot of what Roy Manning had to say today, Evan, and I think to me it really centered around blame no one, expect nothing, do something. I think that's succinct. It's to the point, and obviously he means it with his room, and that was part of setting the expectations from day one. But, that's great life advice, and I think really that can be applied to the entire football program in some form or fashion without trying to get, too grandiose or delve, too deep into what issues are or are not, plaguing Nebraska football. But I think blame no one, expect nothing, do something. That, to me, strikes me as the tagline that Nebraska football has been waiting for in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's real to the point. Like there's just not a lot of preamble or extra stuff. It's like go out and do it. And he laid it out. It's a results-based business. Leave all your stuff, your ego, your notion of what you are at the door, and just come in and grind. And I thought the other phrase that he said that really captured the moment was, he said, it's kind of a blind faith journey right now with these guys where they have to trust him that he can get them where they want to go. They're still in the phase of getting to know each other personally. Manning's still assessing what he has in all of these players who are different shapes and sizes and backgrounds and experience levels. And so a lot of that is going to play out over the spring. But I think, Nebraska's had a lot of these sort of introductory coaches press conferences over the years. And one thing I always look for is like, how much does the coach know what he wants? And then it's just about going out and putting it together. And Manning strikes me as a guy, when you look at his background, and he's been at Michigan and USC and some of these big name places, he strikes me as a guy who does know that and has a system and a conviction for how to train guys, for how to identify talent, to develop it. And obviously those are things that Nebraska struggled in recently, especially at that position. It's been hard to find really since Randy Gregory more than a decade ago, somebody who could consistently get to the quarterback and disrupt those passes. So Manning comes in, and oh, by the way, he comes in with that shorthand already with Rob Orich as a guy who worked with them at San Diego State last year. So it'd be interesting, I think, to see how that translates to the edges. I think we've talked before. I'm of the belief that a 4-man front will suit Nebraska and will suit many of its defensive ends better than the 3-man front did. So it was very encouraging first press conference, I thought.
The other thing from Roy Manning then, I think Corey Brown doubled down on this a little bit, but it was Roy Manning that said, there's nothing really unique about what we do. We've just got to improve and be sound. Going from, the Tony White kind of amoeba 3-3-5 can be whatever you want it to be, to John Butler, got to get better on third down, do some NFL stuff and mix it in. From Rob Orich, from Roy Manning, a little bit from Corey Brown. Sounds like Nebraska just wants to get back to playing good, sound, fundamental college defense. How big a help do you think that could be to this defensive roster?
Yeah, I mean, I was impressed with Corey Brown, and he's kind of another no-nonsense guy. Like, he wasn't up there giving a sermon or anything like that. Like, he was ready to talk about gap fits and where guys line up, and he could talk about some of the freshmen who were hurt last year, like Tyson Terry or Malcolm Simpson, all the way up to Riley Van Poppel and some of the more established guys too. So like, that's another guy where you look at his credentials and his pedigree and you say, he's been to a lot of places and has developed guys, and you don't get to this point, especially at a position like that, unless you can recruit and have a vision for what you want to do. So these were Rob Orich hires, and I think that's notable just because there have been times here in the last few years, especially, where you're hiring assistants with different backgrounds and different strengths, I guess, in terms of the schemes that they run. And so I kind of just felt like today with Manning and with Brown and what we've heard from Rob Orich, that there's just sort of a simpatico nature there, where they understand where each other's coming from. They know where they all fit into the scheme. And so it felt like, I don't know, maybe the fall before a season instead of the spring, just because of how well versed they already were in the scheme they were trying to get to. And I would say in the way that they talk about the players in the room.
The voice you hear on our Allo Fiber VIP line, Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald, at Evan Bland OWH on Twitter. Find his work, as always, on omaha.com. Evan, let's switch gears to Husker baseball. Off a 3-1 weekend in Phoenix to a 1-2 weekend in Arlington. 1-2 record, does that take any of the air out of the sails from the opening weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those deals where they easily could have won either Friday or Saturday. I mean, the bullpen takes the loss both days. They probably waited a batter too long to take Carson Yasa out on Saturday, and Horn pitched well on Friday. So I think you feel like you probably left a game in Arlington at some point. The offense missed a couple chances in those games to score and post a crooked number in the first inning, and they maybe weren't as relentless as they were in Arizona, just in terms of first to the ninth inning sort of thing. But the way they bounced back against Florida State was extremely encouraging. And, honestly, like 4-3 through 2 weekends, they'd probably say they could be 5-2 pretty easily. But like, I'm honestly more encouraged about the ceiling of this team than I am the other way, just because I think the way the starting pitching has come together in particular. You've got Gavin Blackowitz, who's now solidified a role as a Sunday guy and really only had the opportunity because of an illness to Cooper Katsky on opening weekend. And we haven't really seen Katsky as a starter yet at Nebraska. That very well could be in a midweek role. They open at home Tuesday against Omaha. That could be him, or out of the bullpen. I could name 4 or 5 bullpen arms that have been impressive and I think announced themselves as trustworthy, high leverage guys through a couple weekends. So you start with that. And then, I think the theme, especially in February, is often, do you have enough talent on your roster to where guys can sort of force the issue in terms of playing time? And you got that, I think, in Mac Moyer last weekend, who really staked a claim to that leadoff spot. He's getting on base at better than a 600 clip at this point. Probably their best defensive center fielder as well. So a lot of positives. I think this lineup continues to show it has more slug in it than the one did from last year. And so now you've got an opportunity. Now you go out and you put it on the field at Auburn and see how it goes. But I do think they have the pieces and maybe more depth than they've had the last few years under Will Bolt as well.
I'm glad you went there. We'll get back to some of those individual players here in just a sec. But, 4-3 with some encouraging signs, especially on the mound. Evan, I would argue that in Nebraska's 3 losses, Nebraska probably did more to beat itself than its opponents did. You think about the error that really got the train rolling for Louisville. You think about 9 free passes or 8 free passes issued to Kansas State hitters putting traffic on the base paths, and then Colin Novacek not being able to locate and control consistently in that first inning against Stanford. When you think about Nebraska baseball, is it as simple as don't beat yourself in Big Ten play and then find ways to beat other teams in the tournament? Is college baseball always just a don't beat yourself game? Or is there some element of you got to have dudes that can take over some of those big moments in games like Nebraska saw, especially down in Arlington?
Yeah, I think it's both. I mean, the biggest difference to me between college baseball and Major League Baseball is it is more a game of like make fewer mistakes than your opponent. Like that was a philosophy of Nebraska for a long time, was like, and one of the reasons that they were more of a small ball team was let's stress the defense because the guys fielding it are, a 20-year-old third baseman or a 21-year-old pitcher coming off the mound, and mistakes are going to happen. And so I think Nebraska has tried to take the approach of let's have a really sound defense, make fewer mistakes than the other team. And that's been a big part of their identity at times. But, I think that has to be the foundation, because you look at the College World Series fields every year and you can get there doing that. Coastal Carolina made the finals last year doing that. They did not have an overpowering offense. They had great pitching and they had elite defense. And so you can do that, but really the more common approach is instant offense. Have some of that power in the lineups, have pitchers, especially relievers, who can strike out batters and take some of that stress off your defense. And so we're still kind of figuring out where Nebraska falls in that spectrum. I think defensively they have been very solid through 2 weekends. They're a top 10 team right now in doubles per game, which has been a goal of this program annually under Will Bolt. So that's an encouraging sign as well. But now again, you have an opportunity against the number 7 team in the country that was a national seed last year to go out and do some things. And these are rare opportunities for Nebraska, especially to go on the road in the non-conference and play an SEC team like this. I mean, if you win a game, you probably break even roughly in terms of RPI. If you win the series, that's a major boost for the stated goal of this program to host a regional. So big opportunity ahead. They feel like they were tested the first 2 weekends, and now you get to see it play out in more of a traditional setting, sort of an on-ramp for the 3-game weekends that they're going to get in the Big Ten here pretty soon.
So some of those individual players that you mentioned then, Evan, that are helping either raise the floor or the ceiling for Nebraska. You mentioned the incredible start to the year that Mac Moyer was having. Obviously, there's only one center field position, not beer league or church league softball, where you have a left center fielder and a right center fielder. Where does that leave a guy like Devin Nunez, a guy that I was pretty high on coming into the year? It was really my one question mark in terms of his offensive approach after the first weekend. What's kind of the role for Devin Nunez right now with Mac Moyer's ascension?
Yeah, it's a good problem to have if you're Nebraska, and it may be that his journey this year is not all that different from his season last year, where he was in and out a little bit, and he got his chances when other players were a little bit more ineffective and was able to take off. And so, Nebraska envisioned him in center field because they wanted his bat in the lineup. But if Mac Moyer is doing his thing, then you get creative with it. I mean, you could still make him a DH at times. You could still rotate him around in the outfield, where Will Jeske and Max Butenbach and some guys have been in and out of the lineup a little bit too. And he could come in on midweeks. He can be a pinch hitter. There's all kinds of use for a guy like that. It's just maybe not what the projection was going in. And so, like, again, that's what good teams, this is the kind of thing that happens to good teams, where you have a plan and then somebody else forces the issue because they're performing so well, and then you adjust and you have other options. So I think that's where they are. And to hear the players talk about it, their culture is strong enough that as long as they're winning games and being competitive, like, you're happy to be a part of that in whatever way. And so I think that's probably where Nunez is at this point, but I would be shocked if he doesn't play a bigger part in this season at some point here in the next few months.
Where does Nebraska stand at the catching position? Jeter Worthley had a heck of a debut. Then it seems like, at least at the plate, it's been a little more up and down. Is he still the guy behind the dish going forward? Is he maybe more of a midweek guy and Mike and Miller takes over? How does Nebraska view what's going on behind the dish?
Yeah, I think I don't see any reason why they're not going to stick with Worthley at this point. He's a true freshman who just played in a major league ballpark last weekend against some major brand name programs, and that he hasn't even played a home game yet. So I think the what he showed in the fall as a guy who gets on base, who scores runs, is somebody who handles the pitching staff well as a freshman, who's got all that maturity. That hasn't changed. So I don't see them going away from Worthley anytime soon. Mike and Miller is sort of the same guy in terms of, like, he's athletic, he can lead off, he can do these things. He's a junior, so a little bit further along in his eligibility track. But it's both of them are hitting under 200 at this point, so it's not like Miller's run away with the opportunity when he's had it either. I think they'll probably continue to trust what they saw from Worthley over a longer period of time and realize that, yeah, he's still a teenager who's getting used to college baseball and has all the tools that you want to be a major factor long term. And I think one thing we know about this staff is they're not afraid to throw freshmen in the fire if they believe that it's going to make them better as the season goes along. And I think that's probably the mindset with Worthley right now.
And then a couple guys on the mound really briefly, both in-state products, Ryan Harrahill and Jay-Sean Unger combined for 9 innings across 5 appearances so far, with just 2 earned runs allowed between them, 7 strikeouts, and just 1 walk between that pair. Harrahill with 3 appearances and Jay-Sean Unger with 2. What have those guys shown you, and what has Nebraska liked about their contributions early on?
Yeah, Unger's been a great story. Guy who went in the portal last year, came back out, bigger, stronger, one of their better power relievers. Harrahill, a guy that they once viewed as a starter, and I think maybe has found a role as a mid-relief, long relief sort of guy. I'd add Jace Ziola in there as a freshman. Auden Pankinen's another guy. Chase Olson. There have been a number of guys who have earned those opportunities, and so again, you've done it for 2 weekends. Can you continue to do that? And if you do, your usage rate's going to go up, and Nebraska's going to keep holding leads. So I think they felt like there was a lot of depth there in front of Kevin Monell, who's the closer. And they for the most part, I think, proven it. And you're certainly going to get another opportunity this weekend.
Sure will. Nebraska and Auburn, 3-game set down there on the Plains. Evan, is your preview for that one out or coming soon?
I'll be out in the morning.
Out in the morning. Okay, get your coffee, get your breakfast. Read Evan's Nebraska-Auburn preview at omaha.com. We'll talk about that. And the start of the midweek coming up here soon. Evan, as always, appreciate your time. Thanks for moving up a little bit. We'll talk again soon.
Thanks, Austin. See ya.
Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald with us on our Aloe Fiber VIP line. Aloe Fibers, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Big thanks as well, as always, to the people over at Graham Tire Company. They're celebrating 75 years of serving the Midwest. More than just tires, they do all kinds of car and light truck repairs too. From brakes to oil changes, you can trust Graham Tire for service you can count on. It's Graham Tire who's getting you to the places that matter most. All right, I'm off to PBA. Nebraska and Maryland coming up in just about 90 minutes. Husker Hall of Famer Jay Foreman, Harrison Arons with Old School after this.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
A lot of people in the summertime think, gee, I want to build a new home. By the time they go through the process of sitting down, getting the permits, and getting the home started, the home isn't done until January or February.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
I think the best time to start designing your new home is the month of February. Get an early start on it. Sit down. The snow's flying. Let's sit around the table. Let's drop some plans. When we're looking out for a homeowner, we're always keeping their budget in mind. Let's put numbers together and let's get that thing started so that the home's done in summer or fall before school starts. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done.
Make your dream a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your dream home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Fans, are you craving the ultimate game day experience? Red Zone Sports Bar and Grill has your front row seat to all the action. Dive into delicious wings, juicy burgers, and ice-cold drinks, all served up with TVs covering every inch of the wall, so you'll never miss a play. Rally your crew, cheer on your team, and take advantage of game night specials every week. Stop in for a Nebraska basketball game with a party of 4 or more and receive a free pitcher of beer. Red Zone Sports Bar and Grill, right by the Lincoln Airport at 3111 Northwest 12th Street.
No one's ever explained it this way. That's what we hear at Trados when you finally see how today's crop insurance tools work with your grain marketing plan, not in isolation. With hail and wind rates increasing and margins already tight, it's time to challenge how you look at crop insurance. It's time to ask better questions. It's time to call Trados. Call us at 402-858-7501 or visit gotrados.com to start the conversation. That's GOTREDAS.com. Trados, ingrained in your success. No, seriously, give us a call.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
Planet Fitness has everything you need anytime the motivation hits, so you can give everything you've got. With most clubs open 24 hours, you've got access to our best-in-class equipment to tackle early morning reps, late-night miles, and every workout in between. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends February 27th. You ready? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a chance of showers this afternoon. Otherwise, partly sunny with light winds and a high near 52. Tonight, a chance of showers early. Otherwise, partly cloudy skies, a low around 26. And tomorrow, we'll see lots of sunshine with a light breeze and a high near 62. I'm meteorologist Kyle Hucker from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
In a world where Wi-Fi battles rage and bandwidth is never enough, one family dares to connect it all. Work from home, influence all day, stream all night, and game to win. Deadlines, downloads, and dance-offs, all happening under one roof, flawlessly. Can your internet provider do that? Fiber fuel your household at allofiber.com/all-in.
Make your next event unforgettable with Grazing Gouda, your local artists and experts in charcuterie and grazed tables. From boardrooms to ballrooms, they turn gatherings into experiences with stunning spreads of artesian cheeses, cured meats, fresh fruits, and gourmet bites. Perfect for corporate luncheons, weddings, parties, or any celebration that deserves a wow moment. They handle the details. You take the compliments. Book your graze table today at GrazingGouda.com. Grazing Gouda, because every event deserves to be savored.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and on behalf of the entire Koppel team, we would like to say thank you to all of our loyal customers and employees that have allowed us to become one of the most successful GM dealerships in the country for the past 50 years. So we are celebrating that with some huge discounts. Right now, we have up to $13,500 off MSRP or 0% APR on select new models, and new Blazer EVs are leasing for $279 a month with zero down. So check us out online at koppelcars.com. All deals with approved credit. See dealer for details.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up? We're back. Jay Foreman. It's not Austin. We got my man Harrison on the ones and twos. Austin is heading over to PBA to get set up, handle his business, bring us all the sight, sounds, and info on the Huskers' victory against those Maryland Terps, and your boy Buzz Williams.
He's got them cooking. They're playing pretty good basketball, so should be a good game.
Yeah, they're physical, and I think they're going to try to rely on the recipe of, get on the boards and all that stuff. So, Nebraska got their work cut out for them, but I think that it'll be something that'll be a good challenge. I think that when you look at the stretch as you come down to, the end of the season, you're going to, you got play Maryland, then you got USC, athletically gifted, very young. Gilbert Arenas, his son out there, and he's kind of trying to, get his, swagger back and his sea legs back. And then you play UCLA, who's probably, one of the hotter teams in the Big Ten, right? Have a big win against Illinois after getting thumped the game before, but they're more of a defensive-oriented team, tough, physical, big in the middle. Try to rely on defense, and then you end the season against Iowa. So I think every game poses different challenges. I think you can look at it like Nebraska's got a very gettable schedule, but also can get you tournament ready, Big Ten tournament ready, and NCAA tournament ready as they move forward to try to continue to make this a magical season.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Big Ten. None of them are going to be easy out here, but I mean, with those lineups coming right there, the West Coast should be tough. Cronin's never quite happy with the UCLA Bruins, so he's going to keep pushing those guys. But I don't know. I feel like they're in a pretty good spot. I mean, if they can take care of business, if you sweep this, you get the triple bye in the Big Ten tournament, and that's a huge deal for these guys to be in that position. So, different story for women's side is they got to try to clean up versus Rutgers, and they probably got to win a couple games in the Big Ten tournament to really feel safe. But men are in a good spot to lock up the triple bye if they just take care of business.
Yeah, the Big Ten on both sides, men and women, every year in and year out is a gauntlet. I think the women's side, as far as the Big Ten this year, it's tougher than an average year.
I think it's 13 teams right now they have in the projections
depth,
for women's.
Yeah, so
it's crazy.
So it's a tougher year, and so you're battle tested. Take care of business against Rutgers. Get a couple too in the Big Ten tournament. Feel a little bit better about your season because
you got to clean up Rutgers too. I think they're 1-15 in Big Ten play. That loss will unless you're really banking on a Big Ten tournament run for the women's side.
Right. Yeah. And the thing about it is, in a couple of losses for the women, they've had double-digit leads, and so learning how to close is obviously a skill that you got to continue to hone. And you have a team that is very, very young. Their star player, Britt Prince, is a sophomore. Got some other good players, but obviously she's the bell cow. She's still kind of getting used to being a star player. And so
she hit the step back 3 in that last one, which was phenomenal. But to your point, they had some opportunities to you love a thriller win, but clamp down and
I mean,
just
you got to think of Washington, Oregon, those, you had double-digit leads, and so you got to learn how to close. And so obviously Rutgers is a big game to continue. Just take that good feeling and that I guess the process that you had to go through and keep fighting to win that last game, take it out to Rutgers and handle your business. But then the men got, I wouldn't say they got the work cut out for it, but it's going to be a tough game.
Who's the Colts who's had close to a couple 40-point games in the last just 3?
Yeah, he's just starting to get, so when you got one guy that a team is like, all right, we know we can ride him. And this is kind of like where Buzz Williams in his first year, everywhere he goes, right? Because he only stays the place at 4 to 6 years. That's his coaching philosophy. It's an old school philosophy. Get there, build it up. 6 years, people start to get too relaxed or too used to you winning all the time, and then they start to want to get you out of town. So he always leaves a year early.
Mm-hmm.
So, but his first year there at every school that he's been at, it's kind of been a very, very slow buildup, right? Kind of start out really, really slow, which they have.
Young guards too.
And then as you get towards the end of the season, you start to see, okay, I see where he's going, and that's where Maryland's at right now. And so for Fred Hoiberg and company, I think it's you got to come in there with the right. It's a mindset game. We got to be physical. You could probably show them the Texas A&M game from the tournament a couple of years ago. Not the same players, but the same idea. And so you mentally can get prepared for what they're going to try to do. And then obviously have the confidence in yourself that you're the better team. You have the better players, more cohesiveness, and you're playing at home. So, you can't depend on the crowd. Depend on yourself to incite the crowd. Let the crowd get you over the edge, and then obviously go play good basketball.
Yeah, and I like this one. You take care of business at home. You feel better when you go hit the West Coast. And, man, if they just clean up the stretch, because right now you feel good with how Sanford's been playing, Sam Hoiberg's been playing. You got some other guys stepping up. But I think, like, if you can manage to clean up here, starting with Buzz Williams and the Terps tonight at 6 o'clock, you get to that Big Ten tournament, that triple bye. If you get Rink masked, I think he just needs that rest. And a lot of these guys, people talk about, is 7-man deep enough? Not only do you give those guys some rest, then you feel better about that number. Also, with Rink masked, I think he could just use that time off.
I think you also get that time, Harrison, the game plan.
Yeah, 100%.
And the watch and the rest. You get, you could get a couple good lifts in. You can get some really, skill work development. You could
get healthy, not with injuries, but just the illness bug.
The
too.
illness,
just,
and you
we're kind of worn.
You could just get. It's almost like a bonus bye week.
Yeah,
but it's not a huge bye week. It's kind of like you get the reset and really come in there, and you're going to play a team that's played 2 games, probably some hard, tough games, and then you're going to be fresh and you're going to be ready to go and kind of salivating for that type of confrontation and competition. So, obviously Nebraska's heavily favored, but the game needs to be played. They know who they have to focus on, and I think one thing is, like, a player that's coming in like Coit is doing well. I think you got to make it hard on him. You got to find out where his spots are, what type of actions they like to run for him, and try to get him off his spots. And then obviously, I think on the flip side, make him play defense. Don't get too overzealous to put the dagger in the heart right away. Let grind it out on him. And Nebraska has the ability to beat you a multitude of ways. You have different guys that can beat you. So the stress is actually on Maryland. Because they're going to have to deal with Nebraska.
And usually if they're going to be handsy and aggressive, like, you got to use that against them.
Right.
Isn't that Iowa game? I mean, that's kind of part of when Nebraska felt like they were starting to come back a little bit, was just getting inside, getting some cheap fouls, just feeling like the guys are just grabbing, reaching, and then just getting free throws, stopping the clock and clawing back. Oh, on the flip side, you can really control the game. And it was a little bit tougher in that Iowa game, I think, just for Iowa and Nebraska, the way the officials are kind of back and forth on how they're calling it. But I think that's the part where they can really excel, is their 3-point shot. When it's going in, it's easy. But when you're starting having a cold streak out there, if you can figure out ways to just get those cheap ones inside, because you see how teams play defense. I mean, they're going to be really chasing you. And if you can catch them out of control,
use their over-aggressiveness against them. Yeah. And then obviously adapt to the physicalness and the way that the refs are going to either call it or let it be played. And then just go play basketball. Don't look at it as a negative that teams are, trying to, be overly aggressive with you. Welcome it, adjust to it, and then use it against them. And then it'll just be a part of who you are. You want to keep adding, when people say you want to continue to get better, that's how you continue to get better as the season goes on, is adjusting your playing style and, obviously adjusting enough to get the outcome that you want. I mean, Nebraska's going to come in, heavily favored. Everybody's going to, have eyes, and I'm sure Buzz is going to, have his defense, looking towards Price. This is a great game for Rink to get busy and really use him. And maybe if Jamarcus Lawrence is healthy, him and Sam Hoiberg, Burkay will be back, Braden Frager. So you have guys that you have the advantage of on the wings, right? And then obviously the stretch 5, as if you want to call Rink. This is a perfect game for Rink to lessen the load on Price, and the perfect game for Braden Frager, Burkay coming back, and obviously other guys. And who knows if it's Garcia with the size of Maryland and the inside force. This is a game tailor-made for him. He had a great game coming off the bench, him and Leo last game. Let's continue to do this, because as you go towards this NCAA tournament and or obviously more importantly, the rest of the season, you can expand your bench. Let's just say by half a player if you just take those two that I just mentioned. In one game you play one, and one play the other. So instead of only being 7, now you're 8 deep, and it just depends on the the style of play that you're going to play or the team that you're going to play. you have every adjustment needed to be successful, because you don't want to go into, like UCLA or whatever, a big team, or, say you teed up again at some point in time against Illinois and not have the confidence, and those players not have the confidence that they can go in there and compete and obviously be a breather for Rink or Price, or have a special set of plays or defensive coverages when they're in there. And that'll give opposing teams a lot more to think about versus, all right, the same old Nebraska team, they're running the same set from game 1 to game, 28. We know what they're going to do. You start to put some guys in, and they're successful late in the season. It gives the other teams a lot more to think about, but then more importantly, it expands your bench, and that's what you want to do, coming down the stretch. So,
and both of those guys showed good moments too.
Yeah.
Leo in that Michigan game, like he, it wasn't breaking the stat sheet, but he was holding his own versus one of the bigger physical teams. And Garcia, that was that Penn State game.
It was the Illinois game. First Illinois at Illinois. He had 6 big points, right off the get-go.
But even in that Penn State one, he wasn't in there for a lot, but he I think he maybe had 2 points or no points.
Ton of rebounds.
He had, like 7 boards.
Yeah.
A small amount of minutes. Like, that's all you need from that other guy. If you can come in there and grab rebounds, play good defense, or if you're feeling it, Garcia, when he is, like, you'll take that. You're going to ask him for 15 points.
Yeah, Nebraska's close, man. They're inching up towards Illinois. Illinois has a little bit easier stretch down there, or a little bit easier schedule down the stretch, but every win counts, and not only for your record, but more mentally moving towards the end of the season. So that's Nebraska. We'll get into a little bit of maybe preview in the bottom of the 5 o'clock hour. We're going to take a quick break, come back. Jay Foreman, Harrison, dive into a little bit of combine. 2 Nebraska Huskers there. Emmett Johnson has tried to call his shot. We'll see we're going to ask Harrison if he thinks he can do it. Plus, one of Harrison's favorite players is on the trading blocks from the Chicago Bears. Jay Foreman, Harrison, Old School. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Just got new tires put on my car today. You did? I did see you leave the office. I didn't need to. Graham Tire picked up my car this morning and dropped it back off when they were done. You're kidding. How'd you get that kind of service? That's just what they do at Graham Tire.
Schedule your service online on the Pickup and Delivery tab at GrahamTireLincoln.com. That's GrahamTireLincoln.com. Let us do the running. Some limitations apply. See store for details.
Are you looking for a fresh new hangout spot? Let me tell you about Liquid Assets Sports Bar, where Mondays mean new weekly drink and food features. With 23 taps, a full lineup of cans and bottles, and 40 TVs blasting every sports package out there, you'll never worry about missing a play. Savor high-end spirits at their stylish top-shelf bar, enjoy a healthy menu, family-friendly atmosphere, and catch all of your favorite teams every day. Doors open daily at 11 a.m. Liquid Assets Sports Bar, located at 2755 Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Are you looking for something different for lunch or dinner in Lincoln? Big 8 is now open at 1226 P Street, serving seafood boils and Asian cuisine. Get your hands messy with fresh, flavorful seafood boils, hot, cold, and made to share. Or enjoy classic Chinese and Asian dishes, perfect for lunch, dinner, or a night out with friends and family. Big flavors, generous portions, and a brand new dining experience. Big 8, now open in Lincoln.
Planet Fitness has everything you need anytime the motivation hits, so you can give everything you've got. With most clubs open 24 hours, you've got access to our best-in-class equipment to tackle early morning reps, late-night miles, and every workout in between. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends February 27th. You ready? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320. A new year means it's time to try new things. If you haven't tried Führer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For the days you don't want to go to the gym, don't worry. Führer's cheese spread is there to cheer you up. And for the days you do get to the gym, why not celebrate when you get back with the best dip around? Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Führer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top-quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Big value and big flavor meet at Wings and Rings thanks to the all-new delicious Duo Combo. This is the one you've been waiting for. Get one half-sized appetizer and 2 entrees with a side for only $19.99. Bring a friend for the best deal in town on any day of the week, during game time, or whenever the heck you want. Their made-to-order wings and chicken sandwiches are waiting for you at their 68th and O and 40th and Old Cheney locations. Stop by Wings and Rings and celebrate every day with the best meal deal in town.
No one's ever explained it this way. That's what we hear at Trados when you finally see how today's crop insurance tools work with your grain marketing plan, not in isolation. With hail and wind rates increasing and margins already tight, it's time to challenge how you look at crop insurance. It's time to ask better questions. It's time to call Trados. Call us at 402-858-7501 or visit gotrados.com to start the conversation. That's GOTREDAS.com. Trados, ingrained in your success. No, seriously, give us a call.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza, the big one, all the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Well, we're back. Jay Foreman, Harrison on the ones and twos as we're pushing towards Nebraska against those Terps here about 6 o'clock. But as we said before break, the NFL Combine is going on. Nebraska has 2 players attending the Combine. Obviously, Emmett Johnson and what's the other one? Deshaun Singleton.
Yeah, Singleton. Those 2.
Yeah, so, I saw on social media Emmett wants to run a 4.35, and that's, being a smaller back, that's something that can turn a lot of heads, can make you a lot of money. I saw somewhere where he's in the top 50 or 60 players. So that's when you're looking, at the worst case scenario, 3rd round, might potentially 2nd round, he's in the top 5 running backs. And so he's got to have a good combine. I'm sure he'll interview well. The quickness will be there going through the bags and stuff like that.
I think he's trying to go for that one too, because I know his NFL grade where these aren't perfect. The best one probably his lowest scores. They put him at that breakout speed, then his pass protection. So I think if he knows he checks that one off the box.
The pass protection is something that he can't remedy until he gets the pads on. And you're always going to have that question because you're a smaller guy.
And I think it was 6 out of 10. It's not
right.
It was
the
terrible.
Minnesota game was not his best look. And I'm going to tell you this. Pass protection for any running back coming into the league is a hard thing to do.
Well, how much of it is on the quarterback to get you in the right spot? Or is that on the running back?
It's on the running back.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, the quarterback has to, set and it depends. It depends. Sometimes the offensive lineman, sets the protection, quarterback echoes it, or the quarterback sets the protection, so forth and so on. The physicality part and learning how to block NFL rushers is a lot different than college, because if you can't pass block in third down, you are not going to be a third down back, because you will be exploited from that point. They will make you pass block, or they will kill your quarterback, and the quarterback's always more important than a running back. So I think for him, Jeremiah Love, the clear-cut number one running back, and then you have some other guys like Allen and Singleton and some other running backs. You got the running back from Missouri it was very led the nation in rushing, and Emmett's top 5 guy. At least for everybody to say he's top 5, right? As far as running back goes, you want to leapfrog a couple of those guys, and long speed has been a question mark. I think he got faster over last offseason to this year, and if he's able to run a good 40 or fast 40. Here in this combine, if he's able to run a 4.4, that's going to turn some heads, along with his tape and his record, setting year and being an All-American. He can make himself a lot of money. So on the flip side with Deshaun Singleton, I think he has position flexibility. I think the big thing for him is going to be how he tests. If he runs well and jumps well, with his, body type, and obviously as long as he does the drills well,
right.
He could be in the same boat and get drafted, at least increase his draft stock.
Yeah, and that's for him too. I feel like it's had more success than the NFL on Nebraska.
Yeah,
It's
quietly. And, Sierra Wright probably should have got an invite. He had a great all season, got a pretty good year where he kind of took one for the team, played nickel, played well at times at nickel, can play corner. He's highly competitive, did a really good job in the All-Star games. I was kind of, surprised he didn't get an invite. So he's another guy that adds to that mix, that where you have two guys that, I think Sierra Wright could be a guy that gets drafted late, because if he I'm assuming he's going to test well and run well. He's got pretty good tape because he's played a multitude of positions, and his character grade is really, really good as well.
How many teams do you have to want you there to get the vote for the combine?
I don't know. It's changed so much, and it used to go where generally it was all big school guys, and then they went through this thing where they tried to get a lot of smaller school guys because during the pandemic they cut down on going and seeing guys play, so you had to bring a lot of small school guys, and that was where you would see them. So your pro day was actually really, really a big deal. And now it just seems like it's hit or miss. A lot of it's based on how good your team is. There's going to be a lot of Indiana players there. Obviously, when it being a national champion, ton of Ohio State players, so forth and so on. So it kind of, depends. And I don't know how many teams have to request. I've been so far gone out of it. I was just happy I went. You know what I mean?
Good answer.
Yeah. So I know things have changed, but I will tell you this. It used to be if you didn't go to the combine, it was like a death sentence on not being able to, or probably won't get drafted. Now I don't think that's the case anymore, because there'll be a lot of teams here at your pro day.
On the agents, there's like such a network now of players. Of like, okay, here's all the other guys on the list that weren't here. So I know when Nuri was here, as soon as the draft ended, I think it was like 2 minutes. His phone rang, and his agent's like, "Hey, you're going to." It wasn't you made the team. It was the rookie training camp, but another opportunity to go.
Sometimes those street free agents can get as much as a late round draft choice.
Yeah.
So we shall see. Wish them all the luck, and eyes will be tuned into NFL Network. So we're going to take a quick break. Come back. Got some more coaches audio. Want to hear your opinions on I think Coach Manning Brown, and obviously Brett Maher, a local product, obviously, and a great player here at Nebraska and in the pros. New special teams coach Jay Foreman Harrison. We'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Just got the brakes fixed on my car today.
You did? You haven't even left the office.
I didn't need to. I got a guy who picks up my car and drops it off when it's done.
Well, who's your guy?
Graham Tire. They have pickup and delivery service at all 5 of their Lincoln locations.
Schedule your service online on the Pickup and Delivery tab at GrahamTireLincoln.com. That's GrahamTireLincoln.com. Let us do the running. Some limitations apply. See store for details.
This is Jordy Ball for Anderson Ford. For years, Anderson has relied on an exceptional customer experience. But just this once, they're going to rely on a really great pitch.
Right now, lease a 2025 Ford F-150 for $199 per month.
Experience better at Anderson Ford.
Stock number 1007055. Previous service loader. $199 per month. Lease for 36 months with crew credit. 7,500 miles per year. 6,800 to its signing. No security deposit required. Tax, title, and license fees extra. Residency restrictions apply. Program subject to change. Must take new retail delivery from Anderson Auto Group by 3/31/26. See dealer for details.
Sometimes good people make mistakes. When you find yourself in need of an attorney, call Liberty Law Group. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group will defend you in court and protect your freedom to get you the best possible outcome and the justice you deserve. Trust your freedom to Liberty Law Group, the best criminal attorneys in Nebraska and Iowa. Call them today at 877-404-5238. That's 877-404-5238. Or check them out online at libertylawgroup.com.
Planet Fitness has everything you need anytime the motivation hits, so you can give everything you've got. With most clubs open 24 hours, you've got access to our best-in-class equipment to tackle early morning reps, late-night miles, and every workout in between. Join the club today and save $28 or more when you join for just $1 down, $15 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal ends February 27th. You ready? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and right now at Koppel, we are offering big discounts on all of our inventory. 2026 GMC Terrains are leasing at $279 per month or buy for $27,690. 2026 Canyon is leasing for $269 or buy for $40,980. Also right now, all new Equinox EVs and all half-ton trucks are starting at $12,000 off MSRP. These are just a few examples of some of the aggressive pricing going on right now at Koppel. Please stop on in or check us out at koppelcars.com. All leases with $2,500 down with a roof credit.
Rico here with HIS Auto Care at 70th and Van Dorn, letting you know HIS is a great place to bring your vehicle for service. With superior service bumper to bumper, we'll treat your vehicle like it's your mother's. Doesn't get any better than that. So call 402-488-8934 and HIS Auto will make you glad you did. 5% off, mention this ad, and for sure your mother will be proud you called. 402-488-8934, HIS Auto Care, 70th and Van Dorn. God bless you.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Is your furnace ready for the cold winter? Call the pros at Bryant. No matter what make or model, Bryant will perform a thorough heating check, giving you peace of mind, or steps to ensure a warm home throughout the season. Bryant also offers free second opinion heat exchange checks. Before you spend thousands on a new furnace, let Bryant check it free. Anytime you need furnace service or repair, just call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Looking to get a room downtown or near South Lincoln? Abe Lincoln would tell you no to the Ford Theater and yes to Lincoln Hotel. Save up to 40% off downtown Lincoln prices with a nice clean room and comfortable stay. Lincoln Hotel is locally owned and offers a day pass to the city's largest locally owned gym, Good Life Fitness. Long-term stays are available. You can learn more about pricing and book your Lincoln Hotel stay today at staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565. That's staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
A lot of people in the summertime think, gee, I want to build a new home. By the time they go through the process of sitting down, getting the permits, and getting the home started, the home isn't done until January or February.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
I think the best time to start designing your new home is the month of February. Get an early start on it. Sit down. The snow's flying. Let's sit around the table. Let's drop some plans. When we're looking out for a homeowner, we're always keeping their budget in mind. Let's put numbers together. And let's get that thing started so that the home's done in summer or fall before school starts. So now is really the time to be contacting us to get an appointment to get the job done.
Make your dream a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your dream home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
93.7 The Ticket Sports News go now.
This is Rudy Gress IV with your Ticket Sports Update. First, around sports, the NFL Combine is underway in Indianapolis, with on-field workouts beginning Thursday as top prospects look to boost their draft stock ahead of April's NFL Draft. Coverage runs live all weekend on the NFL Network. Now to Husker sports, the Nebraska rifle team, ranked second in the nation, has officially punched their ticket to the NCAA championships as the field narrows to the final 8 teams in the country. The Huskers secured one of the top scores in the nation and will compete for a national title March 13th and 14th in Morgantown, West Virginia. The championships will stream live on NCAA.com. On the hardwood, Nebraska men's basketball hosts Maryland tonight at 6 p.m. Central inside Pinnacle Bank Arena in a key late-season Big Ten matchup. The Huskers look to protect home court and strengthen their postseason resume. The game will air live on the Big Ten Network. The Nebraska women return home Saturday for Senior Day against Rutgers at 1 p.m. Central at Pinnacle Bank Arena. That matchup will also be televised on the Big Ten Network. Track and field begins the Big Ten Indoor Championships tomorrow in Indianapolis, with events starting at 11:20 a.m. Central. Coverage will stream on runnerspace.com and air on the Big Ten Network. On the diamond, Husker softball faces Oklahoma State Thursday at 6 p.m. Central, streaming on ESPN+. While Husker baseball opens its weekend series against top-ranked Auburn on Friday at 6 p.m. Central, with games available on ESPN+ and the SEC Network. And for all the latest sports news and updates, keep it tuned right here to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln, this is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Woo! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln. Your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, Jay Foreman? My man Harrison, Old School, live in effect, 1040 O Street. Traffic is picking up a little bit as we move towards Nebraska against those Terps here at 6 p.m. on Big BTN. But before that, we want to thank Graham Tire for sponsoring Old School, allowing us to bring you some laughs, some knowledge, and some insights on this thing called sports, which is actually just a byproduct of everyday life, but they get to do some fun stuff. But what was fun today, they had Harrison. They had three of the new coaches, or newly named coaches. Brett Maher has been around for a while.
I thought we're still talking about Graham Tire for a second.
No. We're moving on quickly because we gotta get busy. They had their press conference today, and it's really interesting quotes. For Brett, things move fast. You went from like a kicking specialist coach to full-time special teams coach, or the special teams coach, and obviously co-head coach or special teams with Coach Humphrey. And then obviously you brought in Coach Manning to, take care of the edges, coming in with Orich. And then you had Coach Brown coming in a little bit later from Miami, Ohio to take over the defensive line. And so you have a whole new defensive staff pretty much, and they were able to talk, freely. So it was pretty interesting. So some good quotes. Coach Manning, I think, from his playing experience and then his coaching experience, he's always essentially been at Power 4, Power 5, big schools, USC, Michigan, plethora of other schools, Washington State. And the reason why that's important, he's coached and recruited different areas of the country and done really well. Coached at Notre Dame as well, and same with Coach Brown earlier in their career, and kind of got it out of the mud. So it's not only what they could do every day as far as coaching, but what they're going to try to do is building up this roster with players as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of experience between everyone's stops. Even Maher, I didn't even realize how many teams he's played for. Like from the CFL to the NFL. I mean, like that 3 stints with Dallas Cowboys. Even him, although it may not be a ton of the coaching, he's got tons of stops along the way. I just think it kind of happens to me every time. I don't got issues with these coaches' resumes. They all look like great fits. It's just, can you only get it to mesh at the right time with this tough season coming ahead here? But yeah, we do got some quotes. Which one do you want to start off with?
Let's go to Coach Manning, and
Let's just get to what his expectations were on the first day. Yeah.
Blame no one. Expect nothing. Do something. And it's that simple. This is a results business. This is a leave all your stuff at the door business. This is a rinse due every day business that we're in, coaches, players. And so, remove your egos. Hey, Coach Manny, you've been here, you've been there. That's all great. That doesn't mean anything right now. I'm here. I'm a Nebraska Cornhusker, right? And you are my guys. I'm your guy. You know what I mean? And so, and that's kind of the day one stuff, just letting those guys know, hey, it's a blind faith journey we're on a little bit right now because we're still learning each other. I'm trying to take you somewhere, you know what I mean? And you got to trust in me, even though we still have to learn and grow and cultivate our relationship. So a lot of those things, but I want them to know, number one, like, I believe in you. You know what I mean? I think that's important. And so I'm going to be me unapologetically and, just trying to set the tone and the temperament of the room that I always say speed of the leader, speed of the pack. So they're going to follow my lead. And so just being clear on the expectation.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, he's, got to be up front. He's got to be himself. And I think the biggest thing he said, he's going to believe in him. I mean, at this point in time, there's no more transfer portal window after spring ball. So, you don't have to, I wouldn't say, you shouldn't be comfortable not looking over your shoulder, but, who could they bring in that possibly gets let go at another place? And you're going to be in this together. He's new. He has a lot to prove. And obviously, he's going to be here, but he still has a lot to prove or, gain their trust, and they got to gain his trust. So they're going through this process together. And he's been successful everywhere he's been at, and he's coached different type of athletes and been successful. So I'm sure when he looked at this job, took this job, obviously he has a, past relationship with Coach Orich, but, you don't take a job like this unless you feel confident that you can do, some good things with the guys you got in the room. And obviously they were able to go get Jones in the portal, Williams, Noweri and company, and Cam Linhart, and what's the freshman? It was a Petrich, the young freshman defensive line. You feel like, okay, edges, I got 4 guys right there I feel like can play. You get a bonus if you get Willis McGahee going. You got 5, and then who knows if you get Ochoa, and then you got 6. And so you got a good rotation of edges, multitude of, body types and obviously skill-wise that could be successful. So it's up to him to get these guys going, and it sounds like he's looking forward to the challenge.
It's a big area to kind of clean up there, obviously, with keeping contained and then getting to the quarterback was a big issue. He talks about, a little bit of maybe what some of those issues were for their lack of getting to the quarterback. What do you think some of the issues were? And then we'll get to his.
Well, I mean, I don't think it was a schematic thing. I mean, I think if you're the edge player, you got to set the edge and you got to take pride in doing so. I think the attention to detail, maybe there was a little confusion, maybe a lack of communication, so forth and so on. That probably was a big of it. And then having certain guys out there that could do it. I mean, when you think of Deshaun McCullough and his body type, very lean frame, not very heavy, not very strong, and then being able to set the edge, in a 3-man front is a little bit different than doing in a 4-man front. So just by a 4-man front, you should be able to expand your your room and production just on that alone, because they're playing more natural positions. And so I think it's a little bit of both.
I think you just need to be big. I mean, we had so much
help
with
the
polar
but you
bear.
need to be like, I mean, Von Miller's not very big. He sets the edge just fine. It's setting the edge is not that hard. First of all, the offensive linemen in this day and age, they're big guys. They're not powerful. So if you do it right and you have the right technique and have the right mindset, you'll be just fine. You could be, I mean, if you're thinking like TJ Watt, he wasn't very big in college. He's not very big right now. As far as like, he's not 255, 260. He's 235, 240. Fast as all get out and obviously explosive. He sets the edge just fine. It's more of a mentality thing.
Fair
enough. I
enough.
think listening to him, he's going to address the mentality first. Technique will come next. Because you address the mentality, the effort's there, the intention's there, the technique is easy to fix because the eagerness is there. Let's see what he has to say.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. I mean, I feel like that's part of the belief in who you are. You always feel like you can pull it out of a guy, or get him to play at a higher level. I mean, that's, at least I feel that way. I can't speak for all coaches, but that's my challenge. Like, hey, I'm going to get this dude to play. Hey, I'm gonna get this dude to be more effective in his capacity, whatever that is. So yeah, I mean, do we have enough? Yeah, we have enough. I got to coach my tail off, and we got to learn what we're doing and how to do it. But just from a pure walk through the door, hey, do you have enough in here to get after the quarterback? Yeah, and it's similar to again last year where, you have to create pressure on the quarterback. Either you have the personnel to do that, or you have to, earn your check and figure out ways schematically to pressure him. And I think we did a combination of both. Honestly, last year, I think we identified those skills and those guys as like, hey, this guy, he has some one-on-one ability, and then we put them in those scenarios as much as possible schematically as best we could. And so that's the challenge right now. We're identifying those guys, right? So day 3, we'll see, but I'm excited. That's the journey. That's the process, and that's what's most exciting for me as a coach.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was referencing, how they went about business out there at San Diego State, and, they had, one guy that was really, really special. So they had to really, play to his strengths.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you do when you have an experience as a coach. First of all, as a player, he played the position, which is really, really good. Then he's been able to go and, grow his coaching acumen and coach different guys, different type of skill sets. And, when you're at San Diego State, he's been at other places. You just go and you coach the guys that you have, and you get the best out of them. That's what you want. And, I think I don't think he would say, hey, look, we don't have anybody in there. He just got there. This quote resonates, look, no excuses, do something. And, he's living that, and he's going to have to find a way to get the best out of all the different guys. I mean, the way he's got to get the best out of Cam Linhart versus Williams Nwaneri versus Jones is, they're 3 different body type guys. Williams Nwaneri is a guy that, with the walking potential to be like Emmett Johnson, top 60 guy. Now you got to get the best out of him so he reaches that, potential, and obviously with making plays. Then you have Cam Linhart, who definitely has the body type to be, like a close side end, go against tight ends and be physical. So you got to improve his technique to where he can play to his functional strength and be a technician like we saw his first year. And then you have Jones, who kind of been bouncing around. He's been at 5 different schools, but he's like 6'4", 6'3", 265. So he can kind of be a little combination of both. Had some sort of production at, UCLA last year, but then also could maybe kick inside on a third down package. So you're able to expand, your pass rush ability if these guys take on to the coaching. And then obviously, game situations allow you to really pin your ears back and attack the quarterback. So there's different ways to do it. You could be a high sack team, but then also you could be a high pressure team. And pressures are something that don't get talked about a lot. It's not going to get you on, the front pages of paper. The more you can affect the quarterback and get him off the spot at times is more valuable than a sack. Because if I can hit the quarterback, get him off his spot 6 times a game versus 1 sack, I'll take the 6 times a game, because eventually the sacks will come. They come in bunches. Hits on the quarterback is a consistent technique, effort, and obviously execution stat.
Well, you cause chaos too.
Right.
And a lot of times that's why the quarterback will maybe get a wily pass in there because they're off their point and they feel a little bit uncomfortable. But with that being said, let's get a little bit more here. You want to get to new special teams coordinator?
Yeah, let's see what my man Brett's talking about.
Okay, I'll pick this one. What allows you to be prepared for his job? Because again, not maybe a ton of coaching experience at the coordinator position, but he's played at multiple stops in the NFL and the CFL.
Number one, throughout the NFL, the different coordinators that I've been a part of with Darren Rizzi, Bones, Jeremy Springer, who's with the Patriots now. You've got Phil Galliano down in New Orleans, and all those guys that I've made relationships with, still have relationships with, and can be sounding boards for me as I kind of go through the processes and the ebbs and flows of what practice schedule looks like, how to run a meeting, how to decide what information is important, what information is not important. How do you try to build a special teams culture, which isn't as challenging here because of how Coach Rule has everything set up. And, our base fundamentals here are practicing really hard, giving great effort, having grit. That's a big thing that we're talking about this year. And all of those things encapsulate what we want to do and what we need to do on special teams. So having that comfortability level with those people and walking into this building and having that kind of base already set allows us to be ourselves, kind of do that through our own personality and really kind of hit the ground running.
Yeah, I think, I always say that if you're going to be a young coach, as far as experience, obviously just newly kind of retired from football, you got to be a heck of a player, because that means you've had a wide variety of coaches and you've been successful, and that's what he's done. And being in a special teams meeting, even though that you're a kicker or a punter, in this case it was a kicker in the NFL and in Canada, you're in the meetings. So you're not just sitting there, tuning it out. You're in there and you know what coaching techniques you need. You know what, first of all, when you're kicking off, you better know what type of coverages you got going, because you want to make sure, first of all, you might have to fit in and make a last second tackle. But more importantly, it all ties into how you're doing your job. You got to know the process, and obviously the snapper kicker or snapper hold kick and all that type of stuff. And then, he was a Big Ten kicker of the year, punter and kicker. So he understands punt coverage. Obviously being here the last couple of years, he's been in special teams meetings. He's seen how they run. And the most important thing is, Bones Faso is probably the special teams guru right now. And he talked about Rizzy and the one is for this Patriots and stuff, like you see how well they played on special teams, and the other guys that he's been coached by before, he can lean on anytime he needs like a sounding board, or have somebody look at it and see, okay, what do you do? Or what works here? How did you approach this? And, Brett will do a really good job because he has the presence to command the room. He's a more intense guy that you give credit for. Very, very competitive. Even though people think like, oh, kickers aren't very competitive. He's very, very competitive. He's a really good athlete. Got a good mind a good head on his shoulders and a good mind for the game. And so I think for him, being with Eckler, learning some new things and being exposed to a different type of special teams really helped him out as well, where he probably has a lot more confidence to take over a room, because he kind of knew the regular special teams. Eckler was different, and to add that onto you, it only adds to his ability to be a good special teams coach.
And then, what's your confidence level? Maybe that's not entirely a fair question, that it can be just as good as where Eckler left off. Because again, I think Maher's great. Everything in his resume looks like it could definitely work, and I'm not bashing the hire at all. But that's always my fear, is when you hire in because it's just nearby and easy to do, where it always uses him, like if DP left the station, just because I've been working under him for years, I know in hell I'm ready to run the station.
Yeah. I think most importantly, you gotta hire good people.
Yeah.
I think coaching is it's a people business, and the person is 80% of it, because everybody's qualified. I'd argue that a person that's done it at the level that he's done it and been around the coaches that he's been around probably is more qualified than the regular special teams coach they coached at a couple smaller schools and maybe been a special teams coordinator for a year. I'd have a really good argument about that, because there's nothing like doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you got to think he was coached in college special teams, and obviously it worked out well for being the kicker of the year. So I think it's more of I believe in, you got to have good people, especially at the college level. You got to be, at any level, but it's particularly when you're having the constant portal and all that, and you got to re-recruit your roster all the time. You got to have a good person. Brett definitely fits that.
Understands the culture too.
It is the culture too.
Again, I think it's a good hire for what the options were. But that I would always comes up when you're getting a new coach in there.
Yeah, it's look, there was times that before Scott got here, you needed a Nebraska guy. It didn't work out. We don't want any Nebraska guys. And then now you want more Nebraska guys. You got to just look, they're all good coaches. Sure, you played here, very successful, good dude. Eckler's special teams were good. Had some really high moments. With some. Kind of ended in kind of a dud, but you're playing against better teams. That's what's going to happen when you play against Iowa. That's what's happening when you play against Penn State. That's what's going to happen when you play against Utah. These guys, when you're playing against, they're button up. They got good athletes. And so I'm sure he has some ideas, that what he wants to do to try to make them better. So, I think he'll be just fine. I think the guys, I think if you're going to just hang your hat on, like, a coach has to do cartwheels and stuff to get you to play hard, you need to be gone. Like, Nebraska has to get past that. You know what I'm saying? Like, special teams is more than anything is a want to. It's an individual want to. You have to be able to play it. If you have any inclination of playing in the pros, you better play special teams. If you're not a high draft choice, the first thing they ask, do you play special teams? So if you're not willing to play special teams and be dominant in college, you ain't going to make it in the pros. You don't have a chance. I'm just telling you. You talked about Emmett and Deshaun. You better be on special teams. And you better be willing to play special teams. And you better be good at it too. I don't need you to just run down there and get your head knocked off. I need you to go down there and make plays. So what I'm saying is, Coach Rule and them, they put an emphasis on. I'm sure there'll be a lot of coaches that help them, as you should. I don't think it's just Brett does everything. You got guys that do the returners, you got guys that do the gunners and vice and all that. So everybody's got to, pull the weight. But he's more than capable of doing the job. I think he'll be just fine.
Yeah, and I think with Mike Eckler, I think he made that room obviously significantly better than what it's currently been in the past. So you can just continue to build off that momentum. And he was in the room. So
Yeah.
I'd imagine he knows which direction to keep steering.
Yeah, you taking notes, and you're in. He's been in this before. This ain't like a new thing. And when you're in the room, you got the whole coaching book, and he's got Humphrey there as well, who kind of came up with Eckler, walk-on linebacker. Kind of Eckler took him underneath his wing and kind of came here with him. So you got plenty of. You got a good person to go through the process with.
And a plethora of coaches, as you mentioned in call, if things aren't clicking the way you maybe expect to.
There's not a place that I've been at, both college and the pros, that every single coach wasn't a part of special teams. That's just my experience. Now, it might have changed. I know that when I've been in the pros and we had really good special teams, we had the running back coaches that were taking care of the returners. We had the wide receiver coach that would do the punt returners. We had the cornerbacks coaches that would do the gunners and what we call the vices. And then you had the linebacker coaches, sometimes D-line or running back coaches or whatever it was that were doing the front line and all that, along with the special teams coach. And a part of it is they're invested in it because that's how you're getting evaluated. If you want to be on the travel roster, which is the most important roster, because everybody suits up at home.
Mm-hmm.
The travel roster is really where you know who's the guys or not. Who's ever getting on the plane, the 75 guys are your guys. So if you're in the 2 deep or 3 deep, and you aren't good on special teams, well, you're sitting at home. We're going to be right with us. So that's why you have to have your position coaches in, because when they're setting the travel roster, it's not just how you play base defense if you're not a starter or a rotational player. It's how you play special teams. And a little secret I was told as a very young player in the NFL, you can play a horrible game on defense or not have a good game on defense. You play on special teams, you have a job security.
Yeah, Mornay talks about it all the time, especially for guys that maybe stock isn't super high. Like if it's between 2 wide receivers and one wide receiver's got special teams tape and it looks pretty good, and the other guy didn't play, you're probably going to grab the guy who has special teams tape.
Oh yeah, yeah. Look at there's guys that get drafted that has long snapping experience.
Yeah.
And you could be a guy that could add to a team in a year or two, be a long snapper. You end up playing 15 years and don't hit anybody. So special teams are very important. But we're up against clock. We're going to take a quick break. Come back. Jay Foreman, Harrison, Old School. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking for something different for lunch or dinner in Lincoln? Big 8 is now open at 1226 P Street, serving seafood boils and Asian cuisine. Get your hands messy with fresh, flavorful seafood boils, hot, cold, and made to share. Or enjoy classic Chinese and Asian dishes, perfect for lunch, dinner, or a night out with friends and family. Big flavors, generous portions, and a brand new dining experience. Big 8, now open in Lincoln.
Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services is here to help you protect things that are most important to you. Whether it's your home, your family, or your future, Jack Russell has the proven experience to get the job done while developing authentic relationships with you. Give Jack a call today at 402-421-9100. Again, that's 402-421-9100. Or visit one of his 2 locations in Lincoln or Seward and learn how you can excel in the complicated world of insurance. Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, a trusted and well-respected representative since 1999.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Looking to get a room downtown or near South Lincoln? Abe Lincoln would tell you no to the Ford Theater and yes to Lincoln Hotel. Save up to 40% off downtown Lincoln prices with a nice clean room and comfortable stay. Lincoln Hotel is locally owned and offers a day pass to the city's largest locally owned gym, Good Life Fitness. Long-term stays are available. You can learn more about pricing and book your Lincoln Hotel stay today at staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565. That's staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a chance of showers this afternoon. Otherwise, partly sunny with light winds and a high near 52. Tonight, a chance of showers early. Otherwise, partly cloudy skies, a low around 26. And tomorrow, we'll see lots of sunshine with a light breeze and a high near 62. I'm meteorologist Kyle Puckett from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking for a fresh new hangout spot? Let me tell you about Liquid Assets Sports Bar, where Mondays mean new weekly drink and food features. With 23 taps, a full lineup of cans and bottles, and 40 TVs blasting every sports package out there, you'll never worry about missing a play. Savor high-end spirits at their stylish top-shelf bar, enjoy a healthy menu, family-friendly atmosphere, and catch all of your favorite teams every day. Doors open daily at 11 a.m. Liquid Assets Sports Bar, located at 2755 Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at gainatrucking.com. A new year means it's time to try new things. If you haven't tried Führer's cheese spread yet, the time is now. For the days you don't want to go to the gym, don't worry. Führer's cheese spread is there to cheer you up. And for the days you do get to the gym, why not celebrate when you get back with the best dip around? Get to your local grocery store today and load up on Führer's cheese spread. No event or party is complete without it on your table. All right, Lincoln, if you're a diesel technician who's ready to earn up to $40 an hour and you're tired of working nights and weekends, listen up. Inland Truck Parts and Service is hiring experienced diesel technicians right here in Lincoln, and they're offering what every hardworking tech wants. Monday through Friday hours, no nights, no weekends, and paid training on advanced diesel technology. With 37 locations across 12 states, career advancement opportunities are endless. Start building towards your future and apply today at inlandtruck.com. That's inlandtruck.com. Or text APPLY to 785-369-1320.
Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines, unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at EJ's Bar and Lounge, with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
Empire Netting and Fence delivers top-quality netting and fence solutions. From major sports venues to backyard installs and everything in between, coast to coast. We take on tough jobs with grit, integrity, and a strong commitment to safety. Empire is growing, and we're hiring motivated people ready to grow with us. We build each other up, and we're building something big. Think you've got what it takes? Apply now at empire-fence.com. That's empire-fence.com.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, we're back. Jay Foreman, my man Harrison on the ones and twos. We're live in effect here at 1040 O Street. O Street is packed. It's almost like after a Husker basketball or football game, but it's a Husker basketball game tipping off here in 26 minutes against the Maryland Terps.
What's the spread on that? I don't even look.
I don't know. Is it
1-800 bets off. I
is it
just
18
like using
18
it
and a
as
half?
a barometer. Obviously, it's Nebraska favored. It is currently set at 16.5. Nebraska moved up.
Yeah, so So it's another game like Penn State. It's more of a maturity game. Be interested to see who's available. Jamarcus Lawrence, had a little sickness and ankle roll. Obviously in the previous game, and then obviously got a little sick. So hopefully he's recovered and out being able to be available. If not, then the bench guys go down. You might see some more Blue, but he might even be compromised with a little bit of sickness. And then you get Burke back. So hopefully all that is out, and then they're able to kind of get their full lineup going as they go to the West Coast, and then obviously finish against Iowa. But more importantly, tonight is the most important game. Obviously got to do a really good job on the defensive boards, and Maryland's going to try to get more opportunities and more shots. That's how they're going to try to muddy up the game, really test Nebraska physicality. I'm sure they're going to try to get Price out of the transition and quick threes. They look for them to, hard hedge, blitz him, try to get the hands in the guys that normally don't score a plethora of points. And then obviously Rink Mass and Braden Frager's got to, do a really good job of getting to the rack, and the extra pass is going to be huge against Maryland, right? It's a team that you're better than and obviously favored, but you got to go out there and do it and do it the right way. So that's where the pressure mounts. And besides that, I think Nebraska should be fine.
Any key matchups you see in this one in particular?
I think our guard play is got it. I think we got to keep the assist to turnover ratio really high. Obviously, our assists got to be high. I think if we outplay them, at the guard, to being very, very consistent and do a good job against their guards, I think that's the most important to me. And then obviously, every game for Nebraska is defensive rebounds.
Yeah,
it's like a guarantee. Nebraska,
they have to just constantly be a point of emphasis. Like when they're thinking about it, they're taking care of it, they can do it. It's the times where
lax a little bit.
Yeah, they're not big enough to be okay without putting emphasis on it every time that ball goes up.
It's just a mentality.
Yeah.
And I've been noticing, and I've been talking to Austin a lot about this on Old School, is that when Nebraska's within the worst or the highest number they can get, I've seen out rebounded by is 12. It's a tongue twister. Generally, if they're 8 or below, they almost win every single time.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's got to be where that. Now, obviously, Fred would like them to be reverse, out rebound the opposing team by 8 to 12. 8 or less is the sweet spot for Nebraska. That doesn't mean that you just let them get 6 and then really try hard not to let them get to 8. That means you go out there and play, and if they outplay you sometimes, then you got to tip your hat. These are good players. And so, obviously, David Coyt's coming in, and he's on a hot streak, and he's averaging close to 15 points a game, and their 3 top scorers, are guards in Mills and Adams. And so that just kind of, when you think about Jacobson, Hoiberg, Lawrence, right? Those are the 3. You could throw Braden in there a little bit because I think he can guard 1 through 4, right? So our 4 against their 3. And then I think we have the advantage at the center/forward position when Burke is playing, because I think Burke can cause enough havoc in the switches that really helps Nebraska's defense, right? And so then that obviously helps their offense because they can get into secondary break or original transition, and that's where they've done a really good job. And I think this is a great game for like a Sam Hoiberg, which is, he's gotten so much better offensively, getting to the rack, finishing around the rim, hitting open shots, being a tough defender, and he's excellent at the free throw line. This is a game for him that his energy and efficiency starts the game off. You know what I'm saying? And it's not necessarily about scoring. It's just consistent play from him. I think is going to be a big advantage for Nebraska.
That's why he must have spent some money on some VC, because he's got just some crazy new moves around the rim. Like the one I can't remember, I think it was Penn State, or maybe it's a couple games ago. It looked like a Dr. J reverse layup. He's got so good at using the rim to protect himself when he's going up there, and then just as his aggressiveness, and I say it a little bit tongue in cheek there, but I expected his offense kind of keep growing there, but he's had multiple games where now if he gets 15 points, it just kind of feels like normal for him. His offense has gotten so much better, and
he's great on the boards too.
Yeah,
he's great on the boards.
Like I saw his stat, he's the only guy under 6'2" who's averaging 5+ rebounds a game, which you're cherry picking a little bit there, but it says a lot about his effort.
In the way the game's changed, your guards have to be good rebounds. It's no longer like how I grew up, where it was like the forwards inside out game. It's more of an outside in game. And so your guards have to be really active on the defense and offensive boards, and he's excellent at that. And he makes the extra pass, and he makes the little plays that don't necessarily show up in the stat sheet. And now his improvement is no different that you saw a year-by-year improvement of Casey. It started out, strictly as a three-point shooter. Then he got better at I call them secondary cuts. Then he started to have a little bit more savvy finishing around the rim. That's Sam. That's Kale. That's everybody. And so that's just, you got to give credit to, I'm sure, I guess, what do you call them, the skill development guys down there?
Yeah.
And obviously Sam as well. You got to put the work in. He's really, he's a good player in high school. I was able to watch him his whole senior year, him and his brother. I thought he was a heck of a player there, and he's really changed his body. Obviously, he's matured. And then I think that's allowed him to expand his offensive game, which then has helped him defensively. Because you got to think, just last year, what people don't quickly forgot, people always were like, oh, well, he's so good on defense, can he finish a game offensively?
Yep.
Can he hit threes? Well, he's remedied that, right? And he's can play all game, and he's better offensively.
And he'll take care of the ball better than anybody else in the country.
And he makes plays late. He's excellent at the free throw line. He's a guy that you want in there at the end of the game. He makes the heady play and the smart play, and he knows how to win. And so when you have that combination of one of your senior players and one of your leaders, that's why you have a magical season, because he, just like Coach Manning said, the leader sets the pace. He's the leader. He sets the pace. How do you think Burke has gotten better physically? I'm sure he's had some conversations with Sam, or Sam's had some conversations with him, and Burke has decided to do the work that helps out their defense. You get Rink back, you get Price, you got the emergence with Cale Jacobson, Jamarcus comes back, and now you got a team that's really, really rolling and on the cusp of having a special year this year.
Yeah, and that leadership on both ends of the court. Sam Hoiberg, not just him, the team's kind of bought in on both sides because that defense moves so well. And Sam Hoiberg, he gets a lot. He sets tone. He reaps a lot of the benefits as well from that defense, just communicating and the way they rotate off each other. It's that he's picking up a lot of steals, because he's in the right spot. But like you said, there's that leadership.
I think in their defense is hard to prepare for. It's a defense that you have to run in order to lessen the athletic gap, size gap. You got to give credit to Coach Nate and Ernie over there, the assistant coaches. So they come up with it. The team has bought into it. But I'm going to tell you what, you'll see this as we start to get into high school girls state championship and boys state championship. That every team's defense is set by whoever the point man is. Right? You think about a couple years ago when Kansas State had that magical run. Right? I think
same thing with Baylor and their defense.
Right. It was the point guard.
Yep.
Right? Guard 94 feet, able to hit deep open shots, ran the team offensively, but more importantly, ran the team defensively. So you just stifle people. That's what Sam's been able to do. And he's strong enough. He's not going to get bounced around. He makes everybody work harder. And then once you have your point guy as your point guard on offense and your point guard on defense setting the tone, everybody else can play off of it. You can take chances because he's invested. He'll make up for you. And then they play such good coverages and defensively where if I get caught out of position, they don't just say, hey, I got my guy and I'm going to sit watching another guy score. They're invested in it.
Yeah, you're already running to the next guy.
Yeah,
and
then
defense.
Then you know where to go.
Uh-huh.
So what does that tell you? They're definitely all in it together. They've watched tape, exclusively together or independently with each other, and then they've been able to be coached really, really well, and they have a will to win. And so that's what you're probably going to see here tonight. I think the guards will play a huge role because I think what Buzz tries to do, he tries to allow his guards to be free and then send everybody else to the offensive boards and kind of get more possessions. And then if they get hot by one of their, three guards, then they're in the game, right? And that's what's been happening lately. Nebraska can offset that by stopping their momentum as they get over half court.
That's what I'm thinking. The defense is the key to
so the
taking
defense
these
is going
guys
to be the
down.
key.
Younger guards for Maryland too.
Right. And so you got Sam, Jamarcus when healthy, and I'm sure let's just assume that he's going to be healthy, and Kale right there is kind of like a force field right there that you want. And then that allows Rink not to get worn down, right? And so the emergence of Sam has actually helped his roommate Rink. And then with Price and Burke and then Braden Frager, it gives you ability to switch, which lessens Rink. So then therefore, once he gets back going, and that's why you want to finish, like you said, down this stretch really, really effectively, gives him more rest, but will open him up when you need him the most, and that's when the pressure time, Big Ten tournament, obviously rest of the season, Big Ten tournament, NCAA tournament, because the better that rank plays down the stretch, the better everybody else will be able to play. It allows everybody else to play a lot more freer. It'll be anywhere from 5 to 6 more points for Nebraska a game offensively, which then is the difference between maybe winning 1 game in the NCAA tournament or 3. It is. And so, there's a lot on the line. It starts tonight. Buzz Williams to come in there. Now, he is dapper now. I give it to him. You know what I mean?
I respect it.
Yeah, his suit game is off the chain.
I wish more would be thinking the suit game.
Pat Riley? That's what Pat Riley said when he got his statue unveiled out there. He had a suit on.
Yeah, I had it before Riley, I think. No.
Chuck Daly?
I don't know who's the first guy to claim it. I think it might have been Barkley. He started barking at everybody with the crew on TNT about bringing the suits back.
Yeah. And then he didn't wear a suit. He didn't wear a suit because remember he was real big, and then now he's on Ozempic. So yeah, I get it. I mean, I remember. I remember my high school coach used to wear a suit.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd be playing in some hot gyms. I used to look at him like, I know I'm sweating. I know you are, but that's just the way it is. And so Buzz is old school like that, even though they say he's extremely hard to work for. But we shall see. Anyways, we're going to take a quick break. Jay Foreman, Harrison, Old School. We'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Looking to get a room downtown or near South Lincoln? Abe Lincoln would tell you no to the Ford Theater and yes to Lincoln Hotel. Save up to 40% off downtown Lincoln prices with a nice clean room and comfortable stay. Lincoln Hotel is locally owned and offers a day pass to the city's largest locally owned gym, Good Life Fitness. Long-term stays are available. You can learn more about pricing and book your Lincoln Hotel stay today at staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565. That's staylnk.com or call 402-600-0565.
From faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket immediately after every Nebraska men's basketball game for 1 hour of post-game recap. The Nebraska Basketball Post-Game Show is sponsored by Union Bank and Trust, John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, Air, and Electrical, Jack Russell of Farm Bureau Financial Services, and the Lincoln Airport on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you looking for a fresh new hangout spot? Let me tell you about Liquid Asset Sports Bar, where Mondays mean new weekly drink and food features. With 23 taps, a full lineup of cans and bottles, and 40 TVs blasting every sports package out there, you'll never worry about missing a play. Savor high-end spirits at their stylish top-shelf bar, enjoy a healthy menu, family-friendly atmosphere, and catch all of your favorite teams every day. Doors open daily at 11 a.m. Liquid Asset Sports Bar, located at 2755 Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
Hey, this is Jay Foreman, the host of Old School, 3 to 6 p.m. here at 93.7 The Ticket. And one of my favorite things to do is come down and meet all the fans before and after as they cheer on our beloved Huskers.
This message is brought to you by the Downtown Lincoln Association and 93.7 The Ticket.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
There are so many realtors in Lincoln and Omaha, but don't get overwhelmed by all the no-names. plus all the different companies. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate is your go-to option, whether buying or selling residential, luxury, leasing, investment properties, or commercial property, small or large. Ben's team offers decades of experience, unbeatable customer service, and promises to fully protect your interests throughout the entire transaction. Call 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate. Are you looking for something different for lunch or dinner in Lincoln? Big 8 is now open at 1226 P Street, serving seafood boils and Asian cuisine. Get your hands messy with fresh, flavorful seafood boils, hot, bold, and made to share. Or enjoy classic Chinese and Asian dishes, perfect for lunch, dinner, or a night out with friends and family. Big flavors, generous portions, and a brand new dining experience. Big 8, now open in Lincoln.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and right now at Koppel, we are offering big discounts on all of our inventory. 2026 GMC Terrains are leasing at $279 per month or buy for $27,690. 2026 Canyon is leasing for $269 or buy for $40,980. Also right now, all new Equinox EVs and all half-ton trucks are starting at $12,000 off MSRP. These are just a few examples of some of the aggressive pricing going on right now at Koppel. Please stop on in or check us out at koppelcars.com. All leases with $2,500 down with a roof credit.
Nutrition Authority presents Fusion 30, an ultra premium protein ideal for anyone wanting to look, feel, and perform their best. Fusion 30 can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today for a free sample, visit with a certified nutritionist, and get better than internet pricing. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
For remote starters, audio upgrades, and more, there's only one place to go. Auto Sounds of Lincoln at 48th and O.
Back to old school with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back in to Old School. Harrison runs the ones and twos, bit of musical chairs. We got Tristan Gomez joining me to my left. We got Husker Hoops starting up in about 8 minutes here. Tristan, how's it going on a beautiful Wednesday? And also, how we feeling about Husker Hoops? Spread 16.5. Just take another peek at it.
Yeah, it's a great day. It's Husker game day. I don't think there's anything else to get excited about. Driving down here from Omaha, it was a zoo on 180, but I think there's just a lot of people excited for Husker basketball.
Yeah, I talked to Jay about it. What are some of the keys to this game?
Yeah, I think when Nebraska just plays these teams, we've seen a few times where they'll let them hang around. You think of Washington, you think of that Oregon game, but in the end of it, they take care of business. I think in a game like this, you just want them to, from the get-go, just kind of put Maryland away and give them zero confidence going into the second half.
Yeah, it's going to be, I'd imagine, the rebounding again, especially with how Buzz Williams has this guy. And they reference it a lot. I know Fred Hoiberg talked about it in his press conference, how they remind him a little bit of like Texas A&M with the physicality and how they just try to kind of use their athleticism against it. So kind of great for Nebraska to get a look at a team like that. In Maryland, their record isn't great. I know we talked about it off air. Quad 3 win if they get it done tonight. But Maryland, you could make an argument, even though it's not back-to-back wins, they are starting to play some of their best basketball. Coit's had a couple of games where I think he had the one where he had 39, another one where he's just around it as well in the last 3.
Yeah, in the Big Ten, on any given night, any team's best player can just go ballistic and be a problem for an opposing team. And so I think that's the thing that, Fred Hoiberg has harped on going into this game is, all right, let's stop Coit. Let's make sure that he doesn't get too hot. And then, I think playing different games where, this is probably going to be a little bit more physical one, and rebounding is going to be extremely important. And that's something that I think Nebraska just wants to continuously work on before they get into Big Ten tournament play and wrap up the regular season. And so I think in a game like this, you go, yeah, we're the better team. We take care of business. But let's work on some things that make us better going into Big Ten tournament play.
Yeah, and the rebounding is just going to be a thing they have to focus on it. They're not big enough to where they can be just okay without putting a ton of effort into it. And you would like the numbers to be in the positives, but even if Nebraska's outboarded by 8, you're okay. As soon as we've seen in the Illinois, in the Purdue game, Michigan State, or not Michigan State, but the Michigan game, as soon as we start creeping up to that 10 plus 12, that's where Nebraska, I mean, just about all 4 of their losses, Iowa included, that's about been the rebounding margin.
Yeah. I think the main focus needs to be not allowing offensive rebounds. We saw it against Purdue. That's how Purdue got an unbelievable lead, and Nebraska was just fighting back, almost getting back to that comeback. Was they were allowing too many offensive rebounds. And so I think going into, these games, it's, even if we are down in the rebound margin, it's not allowing the offensive rebounds. Maybe we get a few less offensive rebounds than the other team, but making sure it's not a drastic difference on that end of the ball.
It's such momentum killers too. I mean, the amount of defensive effort that gets put into it, that Purdue game sticks out like a sore thumb, because I think, what was it, 12, 17? It might have been like 17.
Yeah.
It was an unreal number. And
they were getting some really good stops, and you go, you got to stop. You forced a bad shot, and Purdue gets another shot. And so I think in this game, you go, we're going to get the rebound.
Yeah, it was a 17 shot differential. That was the 17 I'm remembering. And I can't remember what the rebounding, but obviously you can imagine the spread was pretty big for Purdue to get that many more opportunities. On the bright side, Nebraska's defense is so good. They still almost stayed in that game. Same thing with Iowa, to where if you just clean that number up and you like the assist to turnover ratio, they're pretty clean there. The shooting numbers, they're not maybe an elite 3-point shooting team, but when you do the math, they hit enough around that 32 to 38%, to where if they're in that range and they take care of rebounding, they're a tough team to beat. So that one's starting up 6 o'clock. We will have the post-game show. It'll be myself, Austin Norman. He's going to be down there at the vault. He'll hang around for the press conference as well. And then once he's wrapped up with that, he'll hop in there and give you his keys from the game. So all that at 8 o'clock, and then we'll have the rest of our regular Ticket Weeknight programming, starting with Be a Beacon with Lighthouse at 6 o'clock right after this. So appreciate everybody listening. That's going to wrap up Old School. Don't go anywhere. Like I said, though, Ticket Weeknights starts up just a little bit.